All right, so welcome to the Fresh Perspective. I am here with Al Iaquinta, and here to chop it up a little bit today. Al, want to introduce yourself? People who don't know who you are, people who aren't into fighting, who don't follow MMA or the UFC, and give a little background of who you are and what you do.
Uh, they call me Raging Al, the UFC lightweight.
That's 155, right?
155, 155 pounds. Been fighting in the UFC for like 7, 8 years now, I think. Maybe
Wow.
a little longer than that. I was on the Ultimate Fighter season 15. That's how I got into the UFC. And
It's been 7 years already?
it's been a while.
Holy shit.
It's been a while. I've been maybe 3 or 4 of those years I've been kind of inactive.
Injuries.
Yeah. Injuries and surgeries and stuff. A little bit of contract disputes with the UFC. So, yeah, I had a knee surgery pretty recently back in August.
2019, 2020?
Yeah.
What kind of surgery?
Just to remove scar tissue. This is my third one.
Jesus.
So, yeah. So it's
What
been
were the first two?
the first two. One was in 2012. I got injured on the Ultimate Fighter, tore cartilage behind my kneecap, which is kind of a rare injury, especially in fighting.
In the finale or before the finale?
Before the finale.
Oh, so you fought injured.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, everyone fought injured in that
Yeah.
thing. That was crazy. 5 fights in 13 weeks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
Do they do that anymore?
That was the first season that was live. It was the first live season and the last live season. So it was 13 weeks long. It was what a wild experience that was. A great experience in so many ways, but in a lot of other ways it was miserable. But you know, if
It takes what it takes to get into the spotlight.
that's it. With anything in life, is just, you know, you got to kind of enjoy the suffering, and that's what I did while I was on the Ultimate Fighter, and it paid off amazingly throughout my life. So
I like that.
thankful for
Enjoy
all
the
that.
suffering.
Yeah.
Now, for people who don't know the Ultimate Fighter, I believe you went to the finals
Yep. For
Yeah.
the finals.
and upset, I would say, by someone who I thought you were going to run through. And like anything else in fighting, sometimes you get caught. But people to this day still call that out about how, because it's always a big thing in fighting, like tapping and not tapping. And like the people, and you not tapping that day, I think won you more respect than anything I've seen. A lot of people still to this day talk about, because I know, same with Dre. Dre in his lost, but didn't tap. And that's just like a warrior mentality that you can't fucking teach. Anytime I roll in jiu-jitsu, the second I feel like that's your closing, and I tap like a motherfucker. And I like to consider myself a tougher individual on the scale of human beings, but
Yeah.
I can't pretend for a second like I'm going to go to sleep. I mean, it's just a different mentality some people have, and you have that for sure.
Yeah, it's on that kind of stage, you know, it happens in practice, you know, you get kind of put out sometimes, but usually you don't even realize what's going on.
That's what I was going to ask you. At that moment, right, in that, let's just keep that one for an example. Did you hold on thinking you were going to be able to somehow worm out, or did you think I'm just going to go out no matter what on my sword?
You know, I don't even really remember.
Really?
But I think that in that situation, I was like, oh man, you know, you think you're like, all right, I'm in a tough spot here. I got to get out of this. Oh man, it's just getting tougher. It's just
And it
getting
happens
tougher.
fast.
And then you just kind of wake up and you don't really know what's going on.
Like, oh fuck.
But then there was when I fought Mitch Clark, he put me in a Darce choke, and you can kind of just see my face get red and my lights turn off like almost immediately. I had no idea what the hell was going on.
It's so crazy how fast that happens.
Happens so fast. Yeah, it takes, I don't know, the blood gets cut off to your brain pretty quickly, and you just go out. So with the rear naked choke, I was fighting it in the finale. I was fighting it.
Did that kid end up doing anything with his career?
Mike Chiesa.
Oh, that's who it was?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was so long I didn't remember.
Yeah, he's on fire right now. He
Yeah.
went up to 170. He always had a tough time getting down to 155. He was a big 155.
And he came up as a ground specialist.
Yeah, definitely really good on the ground. Great getting people's backs, and really durable guy. You know, so he's on fire. He's fighting Neil Magny, I think, in a week or two. Yeah, so that's a big fight for him. And I was good friends with him throughout the whole season. As far as everyone on the show, he was probably one of my we became friends with everybody. 13 weeks, you're locked in a house with
it's like a fraternity.
a bunch of dudes. It's either you hate them or you become friends with them. So
was there beef on the show where people hate each other in the house?
No, not really. I was kind of fortunate
because some seasons I saw got fucking crazy.
Yeah. I got pretty lucky that this season pretty much everyone that was on the show was there because they were good fighters, and they. I think sometimes the producers will throw people on the show just like
to make some fucking drama.
This guy probably doesn't belong in the UFC, but we're gonna throw him in there just because he's a knucklehead. And you always get like one or two of those guys, and
well, it's entertainment at the end of the day, right?
yeah. It was definitely. But I got fortunate. There was no one like that on my season. I mean, it was just really a great experience as far as like training with the best guys.
Who was your coaches in that round, in that season?
It was my coach was Uriah Faber.
And who was the other coach?
And the other coach was Dominic Cruz. I got so lucky having.
Yeah, those are two legends.
Yeah, I mean, Uriah Faber's. I could have had any out of all the fighters in the UFC. I think Uriah Faber was probably the best person that could have been my coach. He was more of a. He really took a liking to all the guys, and he had a way of really showing that he cared. He really,
seems like a cool motherfucker too.
Yeah, he's just a cool guy. He would bring his whole team Alpha Male would come and train with us. They were all around my weight.
A lot of the guys I know from out in Sacramento know him because that's where his Alpha Male is.
Yeah, yep, yeah. I mean, he is like Mr. Sacramento. He's been there forever. He's
a lot of good fighters from out there.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's weird. It's weird to get these little hot spots. I had a bunch of people looking. I was asking people, "What do anyone want? Any questions for Al when I'm here?" And one of the things that kept coming up is, "Why is Long Island such a hotbed for good MMA fighters?" It's a strange thing because I don't think when anyone thinks of New York and I think of tough guys, normally Brooklyn gets the credit, Queens gets the credit, but when it comes to real tough guys, the in the ring combat, it seems I don't know many fighters from the city, but I know a ton from Long Island. The farm league, for lack of better words, out here is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely has something to do with the wrestling community.
Because wrestling's big in Long Island.
Yeah, like I grew up. I wrestled against Uniondale, Aljamain Sterling wrestled for Uniondale, Weidman from Baldwin, Vellante was from MacArthur. Dre and I wrestled each other 3 times. He's from Freeport. He had my number. He got me. He got me 3. He got me all 3 times.
Dre's a fucking bull.
He's probably one of the strongest guys I've ever
pound for pound.
Yeah,
inhuman.
Yeah.
I remember
it's not even fair.
I was training with Mike Camp, and he was doing like my physical therapy and everything from one of my gazillion injuries, and he was telling me about Dre before I really met him, and he was and at that time I was really fucking strong. I wasn't fighting at all. I was bodybuilding. I was lifting, and I had probably about 40-50 pounds on Dre at the time. And I remember coming to camp and talking about it and bragging about it, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I trained someone who fights in at that time I think he was fighting in Titan."
Yeah.
And Dre fights at 155. He was squatting like 500 pounds. Yeah, 145. Oh my god, that's right. So embarrassing. He was squatting the same as me, and I was like 220.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, taking everything under the sun.
Absolutely.
And he's that's what at Mike. This kid is a fucking freak.
Yep. No, he's so I wrestled. That community, wrestling growing up. We all know each other. We all kind of had the same respect for each other.
You're 87, right?
Yeah.
05.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're the same age as me.
Yep.
A lot of just wrestling guys from Long Island are always fucking monsters.
Yeah, and afterwards we all kind of just found our way into MMA.
How did you make that transition?
So
did you go to college?
I went to Nassau. I wrestled at Nassau for a year, and then one of my friends was into this UFC stuff, and he was like, I remember in high school, after wrestling practice one day, he was like, "Yo, Baroni's fighting Drago," and I was like, "Who? All right, who?"
Phil Baroni.
Like I didn't know what the heck that.
What the hell was his nickname again?
The New York Badass, Phil Baroni, and Pete Drago Sell.
He was a fucking WWF star if there ever was one, man. He should have been in WWE.
Yeah, for
WWE,
sure.
Whatever the fuck.
Yep.
That's so funny.
But I watched that, and
back then it was like VHSs and Blockbuster.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to the kids and people now they don't understand that like it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Like it was no MMA UFC culture back then.
Yeah.
So you first found out about it in high school.
Yeah.
So you got a really early jump.
It was and even at that point I was still so focused on wrestling.
Were you doing any striking at all?
No. Once I started wrestling at Nassau, I had gone to UFC 53
where was that?
In Atlantic City. It was like
at that point New York couldn't even have UFC.
Yeah.
That's fairly recent. Who fought that at 53?
I was a senior in high school, had just graduated from high school. my father, my buddy's father. He took three us, me and two of my friends. We all went down there and we went to the fight, and it was Justin Eilers versus uh, Andre Arlovsky
I remember the Pitbull.
in the championship fight. He won the heavyweight title that night. It was crazy.
I don't know the other guy though. See, I was early in MMA, but not that early as
Yeah.
far as watching. I remember when I first started, I remember back in the day. It seems like forever ago now when the sponsors were on the trunks.
Yeah,
It's like now the whole Reebok thing. It's a completely different animal.
Nick Diaz actually fought that night. He fought Koji Oishi. This was like he was probably
Fighting
like
forever.
in his early 20s, not even, but yeah, he knocked the guy out pretty quickly. Evan Tanner and Rich Franklin fought that night.
Rich Franklin, I remember.
And Matt Serra fought Cairo Parisian. This before I even, I ended up now training with Matt for like 10 years.
I feel like Matt must be one of the reasons why Long Island is so big. Him, when he beat GSP,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought like, okay, this is a Long Island guy. This is possible.
Yeah.
He grew up, I'm sure he was a wrestler.
Yep.
So that must have given a lot of people like a almost hope, like they can do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was big for the island. He was pretty much the first MMA gym around here too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's he started his gym kind of when he was just training for the UFC. He had a small little place in Levittown. He originally was training in a place in Limbrook. I remember driving past it, and my dad was always like, "Yeah, you should get into this jiu-jitsu stuff, whatever." And I was like, I'm just worried about wrestling." And then it all kind of
as weird as it sounds, jiu-jitsu and karate when we were kids, our age group, it was almost like corny. Like no one respected, like you made fun of karate, like, well, you know, you making like stupid noises, and there's like no one knew what jiu-jitsu was at all, at least when I was in school. But now it's like you can't be a fighter without it. You're obsolete if you don't have superior jiu-jitsu game.
Yeah, I guess maybe because of the gi, you kind of associate it.
Yeah, you're just ignorant. You don't know any better when you're 16.
Once UFC won, when Royce Gracie went out there and just, a little guy
beat Yokozuna pretty much that night.
Yeah, tapping out everybody. It was, but yeah, I went to that UFC and
that's when you're a senior in high school.
Senior in high school.
It was the first time you watched it
live. I was in the arena, and the place was just electric.
Yeah, nothing like a fight crowd.
Someone got knocked out, and that place went nuts, like deafening. You could feel it in your chest.
Yeah.
And I remember Matt Serra dropped Parisian, and the place went nuts. And at that time, I was like, I didn't want any fight to end. I just wanted them to keep fighting because I was like, yeah, keep going. And he survived, and Parisian came back, and then Parisian got Serra and Matt in an armbar. And Matt did like the hitchhiker escape where he escaped the armbar.
What's hitchhiker escape?
So like your arms are like this, and then once the guy breaks your grip, you kind of roll. You roll. You roll out. You're pretty fucked if you at that point. You're basically dead to rights. But that escape is like your last ditch effort, and I could tell.
You do YouTube the hitchhiker escape from an armbar.
Yeah, and he hit that escape, and I didn't know jiu-jitsu at the time. But I knew that I was looking at something that he drilled. I was like, that was something
so natural.
He didn't just do that.
Yeah.
Like that's something that the way he got out of that, I'm looking at his arm about to break, and he, hops around.
Yeah. With the guy Parisian, was he a jiu-jitsu specialist?
He was he was a judo black belt. Really good at judo guy, and I mean jiu-jitsu is really he really had everything. Back then, I mean, he was at the forefront. He had it all. That
was before my really time watching.
He was supposed to get a title shot after that fight, and it's crazy how everything.
So Parisian won.
Parisian ended up
winning.
No. He won a decision, and then so after that, he got the title shot. He was supposed to fight for the title.
Who had the title at that point?
Matt Hughes.
Okay, Matt Hughes is another freak.
Yeah. So Parisian tore his hamstring really bad.
Oof.
And ended up never fighting for the title. Matt lost that fight, kind of ended up getting cut from the UFC, I think. And then he came back on the the Ultimate Fighter, the comeback series, won that and got his own title shot, beat GSP for the title. So it's like, if it's crazy how it happens.
So now that's imprinted in your brain. You fell in love with fighting. Were you fighting as a kid at all? Like, not fighting stupid fights, park, school.
Yeah, like in high school a little bit, got into some street fights. It was really after that I kind of just fell in love with fighting.
Immediately.
Yeah, I was like, I
That's
would
so
never
sick.
start fighting. I would never start fights, when we're out. But if anyone gave me a reason to fight, I didn't care how, I didn't care how big you were, how small. I was like, let's go. You know what I mean? I don't give me an excuse to get going. But yeah, I wrestled at Nassau the following year, and I knew I was like, I'm doing this one
That's
day.
it.
I was like, if I feel like this watching from the outside, I left there
Adrenaline struck.
energy, like hype. I didn't sleep that night.
I'm getting like
I
the
was
chills right now.
yeah, yeah,
I wish I could go back to that time period and get an experience like that.
yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy. But I said, I got to know what it feels like to be in there.
So how long after that did you start training yourself for MMA?
Then I was wrestling at Nassau the following year,
Mhm.
and I
Is it 06?
06, yep. Yeah, like 06, 07. I went to Titans boxing gym
Okay.
in Belmar.
Like
Right?
when Lambros and
Yeah,
everything was there.
yep. I trained there, and I was doing
Shout out to Lambros.
shout
He's-
out to Lambros
He's still mad at me right now because
Ronnie. I don't know if you remember
I know
Ronnie
Ronnie.
was there.
Yeah, I know him
Ronnie.
very, yeah. I know the whole crew over
Yep,
there. It's
yep.
funny. The Deepacitos.
He was like my first boxing trainer.
Shout
So
out.
he would train me in the mornings.
Shout out to Deepacitos.
Yeah. He would
And
train.
Gus was over there.
Yeah, that's how I met Gus. That's how I met him. And I did that in the mornings, kind of like an extra workout. I cut a lot of weight for wrestling, probably too much weight.
What'd you wrestle at?
I wrestled at 141
In college?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
How tall are you? 5'10"?
Yeah, like 5'9.5", said 5'10".
Yeah, say 5'10", so I
Yeah.
can say I'm 5'8".
There you go. But yeah, I just got into boxing, and then from there, one of my friends, a couple of years later, one of my friends was at Pat Miletich affiliate gym in New Hyde Park.
I didn't know he was from out here, Pat.
Well, he's from Iowa, but it was called the gym.
Like a franchise of him?
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
a franchise gym, and they just had a bunch of amateurs. It was like a couple amateur fighters. So I did a bunch of amateur fights with them.
What league was that at that point? That Ring of Combat?
No, this was way before. I mean, Ring of Combat was going on at that time. I think it might have even been at like the Vanderbilt. They were doing their shows at the Vanderbilt and stuff. But I would go to Rahway, New Jersey. It was
Everything was out of state at that point still, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know why New York is so fucking ass backwards. But it took so long for MMA to come here.
Yeah. Politics. It was
Yeah,
all
it was
politics.
all bullshit.
Yeah.
So that was 07?
Yeah. 07, I had my first MMA fight. I had like 14 amateur fights. I was fighting like every weekend.
You still wrestling at this point?
No. I ended up.
So you started once you stopped wrestling, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's that athletic mentality I find a lot. And I remember being lost when I was at that age at 18, 19, when I stopped playing sports and being like, what the fuck do I do now? When you grow up as an athlete, that's all you know.
Yeah.
You get through school just so you can go play ball after, whatever your sport is, or wrestle after. You're looking forward to the next season. And then when that ends, if you're not a collegiate athlete, you had the 1 year, but it's like, now what? You had a perfect pivot, I guess, lucky for you.
Yeah. I did. I fell in love with the fighting and just really focused all my energy on that. I was going to school. You
stayed in school.
Kind of. It took me.
You were enrolled.
Yeah, I'd take 5 classes. I'd end up dropping 4.
Yeah.
Any class that I wasn't doing good in, I just kind
Fuck
of
it.
withdraw from. I had like a 4.0 because any class that I wasn't doing good in, I just dropped. And the one class I had an A in was the only class that I kept.
What was that?
So, every semester was different, but
Gotcha. Did you end
whoever-
up finishing college?
I ended up finishing Nassau.
You got a degree?
I got a
bachelor's.
associate's degree.
Associate's, that's right.
Yeah. And then when I got hurt, I went to Farmingdale for a little bit. I didn't know what I was kind of all over the place, but I got my real estate license. I did the real estate thing for a little bit. So I was kind of like, I got hurt, and the injury I had, half the doctors were like, don't do the surgery that they want you to do. If you have this surgery, you're probably not going to fight anymore. And then this other doctor, Dr. Riley Williams from HSS, he was like, nah, we'll do the surgery. I'm pretty confident you'll be back in there. You'll be
God
good.
damn.
Yeah.
Put me in that fucking mental space. That is a fucking horrifying place to be.
Yeah.
The career and the passion that you have completely revolves around you being athletic, obviously. Your knee is your, lack of a better term, is Achilles heel, but it's something that is a staple. You can't fucking be a pro athlete if your knees are no good.
Yeah.
So now you have that's always thing that fucking drives me crazy. And when you have, because what do you do in that position when you have two different experts telling you different things? You just go with which one you like better.
The
You
way
wanted to be able to keep fighting, so of course you're gonna go with the guy who tells you you can do it.
that was the thing. At that point, I was in so much pain that
That was the cartilage behind the kneecap.
behind the kneecap. Yeah. So I had it was called a microfracture surgery first. That was kind of like a patch job. They drew blood out of there was a little hole behind it. They took that cartilage out. They poked a hole in the bone, which drew blood out, and that turns into scar tissue, which is fibrous cartilage. I'm pretty sure it's hyaline cartilage is
that
like
was on purpose, or that was a
microfracture surgery is on purpose. That kind of like filled in the hole.
Okay.
With
Interesting.
with like
Who
scar
the fuck
tissue
figured that out?
cartilage. Yeah, right.
Who was sitting there like poking at a cadaver and a pig or something like that, or experiment? Who was like, you know what?
Yeah.
People are way smarter than us.
So that was the first one. The second one it's called an Oates procedure, where they took the knee. They basically took my knee apart. They cut a dowel out of that little chunk and plugged it with cadaver cartilage. So I had basically someone else's
That guy's
a little knee in my knee.
How long was recovery from that?
That was long. That
sounds like it.
Yeah, that was that surgery where the doctor was, one doctor said no, the other doctor said yes.
How long was the rehab?
I'm still doing rehab. Yeah, it never.
How long do you could fight again? I put it that way.
I ended up fighting. It probably took me. That was.
Oh yeah, what year is this?
Yeah, that was. I don't even. It's. Well, it might have been 2015, and I think my next fight was in like 27. I took like a year. It was like a year and a half, 2 years
Before you
off.
could even train, like?
Before, yeah, I slowly kind of got back into it.
Probably the best way to do it, though.
Yeah,
you end up hurting yourself when you come back too soon.
Even when I was training, so when I fought Diego Sanchez, that was that next fight. My knee was still jacked up, and I ended up resorting to doing circuits, swimming a lot. I was doing very little.
No impact stuff.
Sparring, jujitsu, very very little. Just because my knee would swell up, and then over time it kind of got better and better. And I was able to do more training, but that was that was brutal. But
so the first surgery was 2012, second one was 15. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, throw you off track. So going back to, you just finished college wrestling, you stayed in taking classes on and off. You're training at Pat Militich's gym at this point. You start your amateur career. How many fights you have out of that gym?
I probably had 20 fights altogether.
Holy shit.
In a very short period.
And you had
of time.
a very successful amateur career, I remember correctly.
Yeah, right? I had a couple smoker kickboxing fights where I got beat up a little bit, and they didn't really like count on my record.
But MMA, you were undefeated,
MMA,
right?
Yeah, I went 14-0. I won 14 fights.
It's funny. I remember the first time I ever heard of you and met you is a funny story. It's a long, long time ago. We were actually, I don't know if this didn't get anybody in trouble. It was a very long time ago. We were both talking to girls that were best friends.
Who's
I don't know. We'll talk about their names
we'll
after.
Talk about it after.
But
I'm so curious.
Yeah, but I remember I met you out one night at some fucking hole in the wall bar in Belmore. Actually, remember Farrell's?
Yeah.
The train station.
Okay.
So I'm talking to one girl.
She's all coming back.
She's going to meet a girl and her who's with her friend, her guy friend, another dude there. And I met the other guy first. He's like, yeah, this is my boy Al, whatever. He introduced me, what's up? Very short like introduction, but he's like, yeah, he's gonna be in the UFC soon. I remember thinking to myself, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
like,
that's so funny.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right, sure, buddy. Like, you know what I mean?
Like everyone else. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Is I was know you from a hole in the wall, so it's me. And at that point, I didn't know any. The UFC was like impossibly thought at that point. You know what I mean? It was 2000 and probably this is like 08, 09. So he must have just been starting out. But he says like he's undefeated. He's undefeated MMA right now. He's gonna be in the UFC soon.
That's crazy.
Get his fucking name. We'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
We'll name drop it.
I forget we're even on this. I forget we're even on air right now. I was like, oh, who is it? No, yeah.
But
funny.
Yeah, I remember that very, very distinctly being like, yeah, and I'm just thinking like, yeah, all right, kid. But turns out I was fucking wrong. So you go with 20 fights, amateur, Pat Militich. At what point did you switch gyms?
So, I was still living at home at that point.
And you're Wantua born and raised, right?
Yeah. And my parents are both teachers, educators. My dad's a phys ed teacher, football coach. My mom was she was actually a math adjunct professor at NASA.
Oh shit.
And I started like dropping out of school. I was doing this UFC
Yeah, they couldn't have been
stuff.
happy at this point, right?
They're like, get a good job, get benefits, do that kind of route, which is, you know, perfect. But for me at
What the
that
parents
time,
supposed to tell their kids.
yeah, I mean, at that time, I was just not about it. And it's, you know, some people schools for them. For me, it was just never. It was never for me. And I was going out at night. I'd come home 4 in the morning. My dad, I'm waking up, coming home at 4 in the morning, waking up at like 9 o'clock to go spar. And my dad was like, "This, what the hell's wrong with it?" You know, so it was very, like, a lot of tension. So I ended up kind of living at that gym. I was living in the basement of that Militich gym,
Really?
and it ended up that
Was there a house
yeah,
there?
it was like a little apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It was like
it's
it was like
sleeping
a it was like
bag
a
in the
no,
back?
no. It was like a little mini apartment, kind of like makeshift. There was a couch, a pull-out couch.
I
And
guess
I'd
you got
stay
cool with the
out there.
coaches there.
Yeah, I was pretty. I was working there. You know, I was like the best security system they ever had.
Yeah. Built in 24/7.
Living in the basement all the time. So I was living there. I was working for them, but I didn't see.
Were you work anywhere else? That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
So you
I
were
was
eating,
it.
breathing, sleeping.
Yeah, that's
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
That's what it takes, though. People
No,
don't
for
realize that.
sure.
Anybody who's watching this right now who thinks they're going to be amazingly successful, get to the highest level, whatever the UFC is and whatever you do, if you don't have that mentality, you're never going to do that. You're never going to be there. Because guess what? There's people like him who do feel like that, who do act like that, who do live it. Like you, I love that's what shit gets me fired up. Like right now, I'm getting like revved up because whenever I talk to somebody who's reached the highest level, whatever it is, they show just a completely different level of commitment to what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that wasn't ideal in for anything else but what your goal was. That's not ideal. We meet a girl at the bar. It's not ideal to say come back to the basement of this gym.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's not
yeah.
something like when you're talking to kids that you went to high school with and they're maybe got in their first apartment. It's not ideal to say I'm living in the basement, but that's how you get to the fucking next level.
Yeah.
And that's just another level of dedication that I truly appreciate. So I'm sorry I keep going.
Yeah, no. I mean that it's fun. It's fun to be in that.
You're fully immersed in what you
Yeah,
want to do.
you don't. I didn't really care about. You know, I would go out at night, but I didn't really care about anything. I didn't. You know, if a girl wanted too much or whatever, I was like, I don't care. I'm just everything was about fighting. If you weren't contributing to me,
You're focused.
getting to where I gotta go. That's it.
Focus,
School, like I didn't care.
Yep.
You know, the teachers telling me I'm not doing my work or I'm not doing well. I was like, all right, I'm dropping the class. I got to go to the gym and work focus. Well, my focus was there. So, so I was working there. I was like kind of living there. And then, I kind of saw there was no pros there. I knew that I wanted to go pro. I knew I wanted to get to the UFC.
You gotta train with the best. You want to be the best.
Yeah, I gotta be with the people that are where I want to get to. And I knew Ray was there.
Ray Longo, right?
Yeah, Ray Longo, Matt Serra, these guys. I saw the whole crew that they had, and at the time George Soteropoulos was in the UFC. He was a UFC fighter training out of that gym, and I went to spar with him, Gus, and he set that up. And I ended up going over there to spar with him, and I saw what they had going on.
Different level.
Yeah, I was like, this is a totally different thing. And I was still loyal to the other gym that I was at, but in the back of my head, I was always thinking, you know, that's where it's at.
That's an interesting dynamic. I feel like a lot of people don't understand. Not to say that I do, but people who are in that fight world, like the gym that you belong to is changing gyms is not something that's easy. And like people will talk shit if you leave and you're like a traitor and this and that. And it becomes like a family ordeal. And you can't just pick up and leave a gym so easy. Like it's just not like that. And also not all gyms want to take you in unless you're like the real deal. I'm sure they probably had no problem taking you in because you're doing very well. But like, was there any kind of a riff when you left the other gym? Like, did they have any problem with it?
So I was working at that gym, and a couple of things, you know, my loyalty was still to that gym and to my trainer, my original trainer. And then a couple of things kind of made me question his loyalty to me. And that's when I was like, you know what, if I'm questioning this, I gotta, the grass is greener definitely over there.
And you got to do what's best for you. It's an individual sport at the end of the day. As much as your trainers and your camp and your team is a part of it, you got to do it's a one-man team, a one-man sport when you get in the ring.
To be honest with you, I probably would have stayed there, but a few things happened business-wise that were
they're fucking you over with money, like?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there's a little some issues there. That's a whole different thing. But that was the reason that that was the reason I left. I was like, if I'm being loyal to you and you're not really being loyal to me,
Yeah, it can't be a one-way street
and
loyalty.
I can. So it all worked out. It worked out.
So then you go to at that time. That's Serra-Longo at that point.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
where was that? What was that gym? Is that the one in East Meadow? It's the Turnpike.
Yep. So Sarah's was in East Meadow.
That huge monster gym back then.
The one big, the one at Levittown, the one that just closed was even bigger.
Oh, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's the different one.
The Levittown one, yeah. So the one back then it was East Meadow, right next to that barber shop right there, on Hempstead Turnpike. They really just moved down the block.
I remember at one point they had one that was fucking gigantic on Hempstead Turnpike.
Yeah, that's the one that they just COVID kind of shut that down. They shut it down. Yeah.
What didn't I think fuck up?
Yeah.
So you went to Serra-Longo, and who became? Because I know when you go to like one guy becomes like your individual coach, or is it like was it Sarah for jiu-jitsu and someone else for striking?
Yeah. So I started going to Ray Longo's,
Mm-hmm.
and
I see the striking
he's
part of it, and Sarah's for ground.
Yep.
You get to work with both of them.
Yeah.
That's fucking priceless.
Yeah. So I started with Ray, and then once they saw that I was my head was in the right spot. I was focused. I had what it took to.
And what year is this?
I'm
guessing this is pre-knee surgery, right?
Yeah. So this might be
2010.
Yeah, maybe even before that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's over a decade in this sport. Solid.
Yeah.
12, 13 years now. Yeah.
13 probably.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you're still fighting amateur at this point. At what point did you end up doing ring of combat?
That was the first. Then once I went to Ray's, and then he introduced me to Matt. He was like, start going to Sarah's. We'll get you going. We'll get you to pro fight.
Oh, Ray's is a different gym.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Ray Longo is in Garden City on Commercial Avenue.
Got you.
And Matt Sarah's got his gym in now. It was Levittown, but he's still in Huntington. He's got his academy.
Was Sarah's at that point just jiu-jitsu, or was it MMA total?
Yeah, just jiu-jitsu.
That's the other thing that I feel like it's evolved the sport in the last decade, is where you used to probably have to go to 3 different gyms. Now you can go to gym and get all the different disciplines under one roof.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. So yeah, back then, Ray Longo's didn't have jiu-jitsu, and
vice versa.
Matt Sarah's didn't have stand-up. Now it's
they came together at one point, right?
No, they always had separate gyms.
Was it
one team, but separate?
Okay, the team is together.
The team was together always. The gym's separate always.
And then you started fighting ring combat at that point?
Ring combat, yeah. Had a bunch.
That's another level up in the amateurs.
That's a pro.
Oh, they have pro also, that's right.
Yeah, that was all pro.
That's when you started pro?
It was like the regional professional circuit, kind of like the minor leagues.
Yeah.
And then the guys that do good in the ring combat.
Those are all the Atlantic City shows.
Yeah.
I remember growing up as a kid and being in like the powerhouse gym and stuff, and you just see the flyer.
Yeah.
I remember like Vinny Uzi,
Yep.
a good friend of mine. I remember as a kid seeing his pictures up on the flyers, and the other dude, the big tatted up Jack dude with the fucking neck tats who fought in ring combat, one of Vinny's friends.
I know what you're talking about.
Monster. I forget his fucking name. Big, like whatever. I remember him seeing him, and just the guys were animals. I remember being like, these guys are fucking out of their minds.
Yeah.
Those flyers would be burned into my head forever.
Yeah, I still have a couple of them. I still have
the ones you were in.
Them. Yeah. My professional debut, Weidman made his debut.
The same card.
John Vellante made his debut.
Wow.
And Gus fought on that card too. Charles Oliveira was on it.
That's a fucking stacked card.
Yeah. There's a few other guys, like UFC guys, that Ricardo Romero or some Romero. He fought in the UFC. Romero.
John's one of those people I heard about young too. It's funny because when we were kids, like everybody, you would know who like the toughest kid in each school was. You would just hear like this kid from Calhoun, this kid from whatever it is. And I remember like being in high school when people talking about Vellante from MacArthur. He's an All-American or something like that. Whatever the hell it was. And
he's sick football player, sick wrestler.
The monster athlete. I remember just hearing about him and like just picturing what he was gonna be like in my head. And when I finally met him, he was such like a big kid. Yeah. And like so like happy going. I'm like, oh, it's like he's got. I mean, he's obviously intimidating physically, but he's not like a dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was just kind of like.
He was a bully in high school.
He was.
I didn't know him too well, but everyone said he was like, yeah. And then once after, I think it was like really after college, he kind of turned into just like a big kid.
He reminds me of Gronk.
Oh yeah,
that's who he reminds you of.
100%.
They have 2 peas in a pod.
Yep. No, for sure. Yeah, but he's all of us really started the same
day.
Yeah, the same time. Yeah.
You guys all debuted that day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long did you stay with them? fighting in that in Ring of Combat?
Until the Ultimate Fighter, I had a bunch of
How many fights you have
fights.
in ROC?
I think I had like 7 fights.
So
Seven.
that's Louis Neglia's thing, right?
Yep. Yeah.
That guy's another legend.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's gotten so many guys to the UFC. You know,
Everybody that knows him has always said the same thing about him. That he's the most amazing dude, but he's so fucking strict.
Yeah.
Like it's his way, or like get the fuck out of my dojo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Old school.
Yep. I don't really know him, and I don't really know that side of him. I never trained under him or anything.
A bunch of the guys for some reason, Belmore Merrick.
Yeah.
A bunch of guys that train with him. Like growing up, remember Fortini used to train with him. Andrew Bull, a couple of my other friends all used to go to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
He's a Brooklyn guy, I think, though, right?
Yeah. So I guess he lives in Belmore. Yeah, I think he lives.
He lives.
Belmore.
I think.
Lives
Yeah,
in
I think it's in
Belmore.
Belmore, and actually trained at his house.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah. So that's a bunch of the Belmore Americans.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So 9 fights with them. What was your record there?
I was like 5-0, and then I got onto the Ultimate Fighter, and week before, like I went to the tryouts, I did the whole thing.
How did explain that process? I'm very interested actually. How did that process go? How do you get on to Ultimate Fighter? Like they call you?
No, you got to go to the try. They have tryouts.
So you go like it's American Idol. It's like 100 guys in the room. It is
exactly like American Idol, but with fighters, and it's even so. You walk into this room, and there's guys that are like, you could tell the guys these guys are good fighters. Some guys.
There's gotta be like street tough guys who think who the fuck they are walking in.
Coming dressed up as they come with costumes on. It really is like American Idol. You know, in American Idol, you have the guy coming up that just sings. He's horrible. He's horrible. There was guys that you have to hit pads first.
So how many guys went to the tryouts?
It's a lot. It was probably like
a couple dozen or a couple hundred.
Yeah, couple hundred. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a huge ballroom just packed with people.
Where was it?
It was in North Carolina.
Oh shit! Yeah. I'm thinking for some reason it's local.
No.
So this is for the whole country.
Yeah.
Damn, in a fucking ballroom. So what do? You walk in, you take a number, you wear like a number on your chest, like. How the fuck do they organize something like that?
I'm pretty sure everyone had their number.
And I thought you would a coach and say, let's see if we even coordinated those hits pads.
Yeah, so they had a bunch of 5 or 10 guys holding pads, and you pick your guy. You have to hit pads pretty much with a stranger, and they'd be like, all right, you good.
They're weeding out the guys who just don't even belong there, I guess.
Yeah. Then it's like a 1-minute grappling match. They pair you up. They go, these guys go. These guys go. These guys go.
And are they watching just to see if you're any good, or the winner actually goes on?
No, it's pretty much they want to see. I actually had a really good match. I had a guy that was pretty tough, and we just went back and forth, and we both ended up making it to the next round. And yeah, so they'd eliminate a bunch of guys there.
How's your ground game at this point?
I was more of a ground fighter at that point.
Really?
Yeah. My first I grew up wrestling, so the striking I kind of picked up later, turned into more of a striker, I guess. But yeah, I was more of like a wrestler grappler at that point. And then the interview, that was the last stage of the tryout.
So you didn't actually fight anybody?
No.
Wow.
That was it. I mean, they had your record. They knew what team you came from.
I guess, yeah.
They like had a little bio about you.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, they see your bio. They see you hitting pads. They're like, all right. So they kind of already know who they see your record. They see who you train with and who you beat, who you lost to.
Sounds like a one-day thing.
Yeah. Oh, it was like, it was one day. Yeah.
So how many guys did they pick for the show?
It was 32.
32? Was that many people?
And then you fight to get on the show.
Oh, okay, so before you actually get to the show is a fight.
So the fight to get on the show is then it's 8 and 8 for each team.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did they tell? Okay, so you left there knowing? Did you know you were one of the 32 when you were still there, or they had to like mail you afterwards? Like it's getting the college app like in to come in the mail, or while you were still there, they were like they told you who came.
No, they didn't. They didn't really. He kind of hinted that I was good, so they do an interview.
Was Dana there, or was it?
He was there. Yeah, he was there. He wasn't in the interview. The interview was like it was the producer of the show.
Okay, so Dana's just lurking around, kind of watching.
Yeah, he was there. The matchmaker was there, and the producer he interviews you, and that's when he's kind of seeing. He's like, does this guy have? Is he going to be entertaining on TV, charisma, or is he just it's kind of like a mute guy that's not going to say anything and be there? So you gotta have something that makes them want you to be on the show. So I kind of just made fun of a couple people, and I was like I was like, did you see the guy with that costume on? Like, what the heck was that guy doing? I was like, the other guy, he smelled like shit. Please, if I get on,
Don't pair me up with him.
don't put that guy on the show too, because he smells. You know, I was just kind of like, you know, being a little bit of hype, playing up my character a little bit. And then yeah, I got a call a couple weeks later that they were gonna fly. They flew us out to a second tryout, and the second tryout was more interviews and more of like formality stuff, I guess.
Where was that at?
And that was in Vegas.
Okay,
that was in Vegas.
Not a bad place to get flown out to.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
I haven't been to Vegas in a long time.
Yeah,
it's been it's like the longest draft since I started going to Vegas.
yeah.
I don't even know. Is Vegas going on right now? Is it a real? Is it exist anymore? I don't even know with COVID. Like, is it open?
I was there in Aljo fought. When was that? May. I was there in May when like.
And was it weird? Was it dead?
They opened. It was when I first got there. It was a little more closed, and by the time I left, I was there for 2 weeks. By the time I left, everything was kind of like back open again. The casinos were back open.
I remember seeing them like videos of people like walking down the middle of Las Vegas Boulevard and just fucking dead.
That's when we got there. It was like that.
So
there was
weird.
nothing, and then by the time we left, within that week, I think they started opening. It went from like phase whatever to backwards. Getting a little better.
I haven't been there since. It's got to be like November of 2019 when Dre fought. Last time I was there.
Mm.
For PFL.
Yeah, if you would have imagined, you would have known then what was about to come.
No,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
it's like even up until like February of last year, he fucking not had any clue what this year was gonna be like. It's been an insane ride. But so then you get past the second round of interviews, they call you back now for a third. That's right to the fight now.
Yeah, now you're on the show, and I was training.
But I thought there was a fight before the show.
Well, that's the first like the first episode of the show is you fighting to get into the house.
Gotcha.
Once you fight, you win, you get in the bus, they take you to the house.
How was the fight?
So I actually I broke my hand a week before the show.
Was in sparring?
Yeah. Like I was training for this show. I hit the guy on top of the head sparring. And I was like, I'm still going. I don't care. This is my shot. And Ray was like, dude, you're like 22 years old, 23, whatever I was.
Don't rush it.
He was like, well, your hand's mangled. You're not going. So I was super bummed about that. And then I ended up getting 3 more fights in the Ring of Combat. And one of them was an absolute war.
Wait a second, hold on, I missed something here. So you didn't go?
So I didn't go. That was season 12.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So this is the untold story behind the scenes. So
yeah,
you were actually supposed to be on the Ultimate Fighter the previous season.
Yep. It was the previous 155 season. So it was season 12. Maybe it was actually season 10 or something.
How long between your first time you were supposed to go on and the time you actually went on?
It might have been like a year or 2.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you must have been feeling like, fuck, did I blow this?
Yeah. I was watching the show, and all the guys that I was at the tryouts with were on the show.
Seen him on TV.
Yeah,
who won that season that you were supposed to be on?
That was Jonathan Brookins.
I don't know. I guess he didn't have a very long career.
He was really good. He did good in the UFC.
Is anybody else on that show that season that I would know, or maybe the people would know?
Andy Main, he's a Jersey guy. He was pretty
I'm not
good.
sure.
Jeff Lentz was another Jersey guy that did pretty good. But yeah, I guess from that season there weren't too many guys. But
so you wanted to still go. And Longo was like, listen,
I was like, I'm still going. I'll fight with one hand. I was like, I wanted to be on TV so bad, I was like, I just want to be on. I'll fight the guy with one hand. I just got to get on. But yeah, thankfully,
that's why you need a coach.
Yeah,
to be able to reel you in.
Yeah. And then one of the best coaches he was, because that changed everything. I probably would have went on, and it wouldn't have been a good thing.
Because ruined your hand forever.
Even if I do win the fight to get on the show. My hand's broken.
Fight 3 more times.
They're gonna be like, dude, your hand's broken. So I got 3 more fights in the Ring of Combat, and those were probably the 3 most meaningful fights that I had as in the regional promotion before the UFC, because I had an absolute war with Gabriel Miglioli, who was this Brazilian guy that we didn't really know much about. His record on Sherdog was like 2-3 or something, and then his record on MMA.TV was like 4-1. So it was like he had fights in Brazil that no one really knew about, and we couldn't find too much about him. And I ended up finding out after the fact that he had a bunch of fights. He fought Rafael dos Anjos to a decision
Wow.
before I fought him, and we went to
What,
war.
in Brazil?
Yeah, in Brazil.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like maybe 4 years before I
Is
fought
that a
him.
common thing? They lie to hide their record?
With the Brazilians, I guess.
Because I remember hearing about that with boxing. Like I was watching a Tyson documentary, and then we're talking about how, like, everybody lied to say they had less fights so they can get an easier fight. You know what I mean? Because they would pair you up based on how much experience you had.
Yeah,
So you guys saying, I'm 2-1. We had 30 fights.
Yep.
That fight, that guy was really 2-1.
Yeah, and at that point, I mean, I'm sure at that time there's no internet, so no one really knows that. It's like whatever, you don't really know.
Sherdog's been around that long?
Yeah. This was yeah. So the records I couldn't really tell, how good he was, but when I got in there, he beat me up the first round pretty good, and then I ended up coming back, and it was kind of like,
what's that like? I don't think a lot of people have had that experience. I mean, I've been beat up in real life, so I know the feeling of getting in a fight with somebody and having someone have the upper hand on you was one of the worst feelings in life.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So how does it feel when you're in a ring with people watching? Like when your family, your friends are there. Like what is that like as you separate yourself, getting beat up in round one?
Yeah, I mean he dropped me with like an elbow, and he was definitely like bigger, stronger.
He mounted you at that point?
He was older. What's that?
He was mounting you, or this is just the kind of controlling the round?
No. So he dropped me, and I ended up staying on my back and kind of like kicking to keep him off of me. He was throwing punches, and I kind of just like survived that round. It was a pretty tough round to get through, and that was the first time in my career that I'd really been hurt to that point, that bad.
You learned about yourself in that moment, I'm sure.
That's it, man. I knew it. I knew I was tough, but to be put in that situation, you just kind of really prove it more so to everybody else, and reiterate it to yourself. And I was like, wow, I'm a lot tougher. I'm a lot tougher than I think I am, I guess, kind of thing.
I came through in the moment when it counted.
Yep. And then I pulled through it, got a split decision win against him. They did he complained, rightfully so. It was a close fight. It
but you won.
But I won. Yeah.
He complained. What does that do? What do you mean? He like made a formal complaint? Or?
Yeah. He kind of. Yeah, he might have done it. Yeah, I think.
So what happened at that point? Make you fight again?
So we did a rematch.
Were you like, fuck? I gotta do this guy again.
Exactly. I was like, I was almost to the point where I was like, I don't want to do this again. That was crazy. You know what I mean? But I trained super hard, and I went in there like ready to die. I was like, this is gonna be war. I ended up throwing a kick. The first kick I throw, I hit him in his eye. I kicked him in his eye. Oof. And he just like bent over, and I was like, I attacked, and they finished it. They stopped the fight right there.
You break his eye?
I was like, no, it was just I hit him just right in the eye. Yeah, and he.
This was the first round.
This was like the first. It was like a 40-second knockout.
That's fucking awesome. So that's gotta be a great feeling too.
I was like, you're ready for war, and I didn't even get touched.
No damage.
I was like, oh my god, so what a relief, So that was kind of another lesson. It's like you prepare for the worst, and something like that could happen. I was ready for an all-out war, but it ended up being a quick win. And then the third fight, was my first loss ever. I was in a tough fight, Pat Audenwood, who ended up fighting in the UFC.
But now at this point, you're in between seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. Yep. When you left off with them after the first one, because you had made the show or whatever, you had made the tryout or the final round.
Yeah.
Did they say like, hey, when you're healthy, you like have your spot back?
Pretty
or
much.
is it like, so you had like a reserve spot kind of in the 32 whenever you're ready?
Yeah, kind of. They're like, when we do your weight again, it wasn't for sure, but we
pretty much got you. Yeah. We saw what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And like, did they tell you get some more fights in?
They said, not even. They didn't. I don't remember the conversation how it happened.
So then how did you get back to the show at that point? And then when you lost that last fight, did that make you think like, oh fuck?
So I lost the fight, and it was the next day. I think I heard that they were doing my weight class again.
Ugh.
But losing, I think that was another thing. It was a good thing because it motivated me to train harder. I was like before that I was undefeated. I was kind of, you know,
Do you got to your head a little bit?
maybe a little bit, especially at that point after the two previous fights. I won the other one pretty easily, so that loss kind of remotivated me, and
They either crush you or they motivate you to like. That's always how it goes. I feel like
yeah, yeah,
it could make you or break you.
no, for sure, for sure. And at that point, you know, that's all I wanted to do was be in the UFC and you know, win in the UFC.
Did you think
So
that the loss was going to hurt you though when he has at UFC?
yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. So it was like right after that I found out that they were doing my weight class again. I emailed the producer and I was like, "Oh, remember me? I made it onto the last one. What do you think?" And they're like, "All right, we'll bypass you through the tryouts. You just kind of come out for that second one, the second tryout in Vegas again." I went out, and then they basically told me I was in.
Did you have to fight though?
And I had to fight. Yeah, everyone has to fight to get on the
Yeah.
show. So I fought on the season premiere.
How was that fight?
I fought John Tuck. It was one round. The winner of the round. It was 5 minutes. That's all it
Is
was.
that better or worse?
For some guys, better. For some guys,
For you?
worse. For me, it was probably not. I'm more of like maybe not a slow starter, but I definitely my cardio and like mental toughness. I think is a good attribute that I have. So for 5 minutes, you really got to just get right after it.
Yeah.
So it was a little more of a slow start of the fight, and then towards the end, I picked it up. I actually stepped on his foot and broke his toe. His toe was like
On purpose? You stopped him or
No,
just by
no,
accident?
yeah, just he was a southpaw. I'm an orthodox fighter, so we had mismatched leads. His
Yeah.
lead foot's close to my lead foot, and I threw like a hook, and I stepped on his foot.
Did they stop
And
the fight from that or no?
no, he was looking down at his foot, and I didn't know what was going on. I was like, why is he looking down? I thought he was gonna pull a trick, like kind of look low, high or something.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that his foot was like that. But we kept fighting. I ended up getting a takedown, putting him down, a little ground and pound towards the end of the 5 minutes, and I ended up winning, and getting onto the show pretty unscathed, which was something that I wanted. You know, 5 minute round. If you have an all out war going into the house, now you got
Yeah, and we're going in with damage
you got
already.
four more fights over 13 weeks, and you're already. So that was the name of the game for that was win first, but also try to take as little damage as possible.
Yeah.
And that it ended up working out good. So
That'd be the best day of your life though, going to that fucking house.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
You got to celebrate, go to Glow.
No, because right after that you're in Vegas.
Oh, you're already there.
Yeah. Glow. Glow. Oh my God. Oh,
that's one of the things
so
that's the sad
funny.
thing about Long Island, is that people don't realize we had some pretty, I mean, for Long Island, keep it in perspective, but we had some good nightlife. You know, from about when we came out of school, like college age,
Yeah.
2008, 2000 to 2014, you had like
Sugar.
Glow, Sugar, Aura,
Is
where
that
at least
the
three.
Zachary's one. Was
Yeah,
like,
that was
those
Aura,
are
I
fun.
think.
Oh yeah, Aura. Yeah.
Yeah, like there were like 3-4 nights a week where you could go out, have a drink with your boys, even get a table at somebody's spots. There were girls. It was action.
Yeah.
Right now, and then you had the summertime. You had Neptunes and shit like
Neptunes
that.
and,
Now Neptunes is gone, Aura's gone,
Bridgeview
Glow's
is-
gone, Bridgeview's gone. There's nothing. There's no Long
was the
Island
other
nightlife
one?
left. The only thing you do now is go to a restaurant, which I like sometimes going up to the Greek spot up there in Roslyn. What's it called? Not Kiki. That's Miami. What's the Greek spot up in?
Hendrickson?
No, not Hendrickson. Hendrick's Tavern. That's one of the spots, but like the Greek spot. The fuck is it? Like a Thursday night spot.
Kima?
Kima.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you know you
I've
have
actually
that.
never been there.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
fucking
it's good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. One Thursday night we'll go get a drink,
Yeah.
fucking some lamb chops, some saganaki. I love Greek food, but it's dead now. There's nothing left. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks.
Yeah, that was fun. They had some.
They had
I
like
saw
international DJs there.
Ludacris was there. I saw Ludacris.
Tiesto. They had like the biggest house DJs in the world. We're going there on a fucking on a Saturday night in Westbury.
Yeah.
So that was a dead, a long gone
fun.
time period. But
Yeah.
so you're in Vegas already. You move right into the house after you win.
So you win the fight.
So you came bags packed whether you're winning or losing.
Yeah, that's it. You're packing your bags for 13
3 months.
13 weeks. Yeah.
Shit,
Yep. It's a sad ride home if you don't win. So
I can imagine. Lucky you didn't have to have that.
yeah. It was you kind of you're excited that you won, but at the same time you're like, what are the
Nervous,
next
anxious.
what is in store for the next 13 weeks? You're unsure. This was the first season where they did it live. So you fought. So they'd film you the whole week, and they turned that into an episode. So they knew who was going to fight. They had these two guys who were going to fight. They kind of
the coaches picked the fights, right?
Yeah. Yep. So those two, the two fighters were kind of like featured that week. So the week was about them. Sometimes something happened in the house where they put it on the episode. But so they'd film for a week. They'd break down the film. They'd create an episode, and
then the fight would be live at the end of the week.
Yeah, so
that's a crazy format.
Yeah,
it's too bad I can't work out. And fighting, I think that's just too much. But that's fucking awesome. What was it like being in the house with the guys?
It was, for me, it was cool. I enjoyed, it was kind of just if
like, what was the structure there like? I know we watched the show, but it's hard to tell what it's really like. Like you a day that you wake up, there was an average day like. You're training every single day?
So you train twice a day.
Twice a day.
You'd get, the van would take you to, it was maybe 15-minute ride there. You train. I think you had 2 hours at the gym and then a 15-minute ride home. And you did that twice a day. You had a day off. But for me, it was, I learned so much over that 13 weeks. I was with, like I said, Uriah Faber. And he would bring in guys from Sacramento, his team, which were, the best 135, 145 pounders.
At that time, was it Dillashaw was still there?
Dillashaw, he was
Garbrandt there yet?
No, I think he was there, but he wouldn't. He was.
He wasn't a name yet, I don't think, at that time.
No, but he wouldn't. If he was on the team, he didn't make it out to Vegas. So a bunch of guys came out to Vegas and trained. Lance Palmer. Chad Mendez.
Oh, Lance Palmer, that's Dre's enemy.
Yeah. We trained. I trained with those guys. It was probably Danny Castillo, who had a great career in the UFC. Yep. Joe Benavidez.
A bunch of killers.
Yeah.
So even more than the people that you're there with and the coaches, you
and
had extra loaded guns coming in.
I had awesome. 8 top prospects in the world, guys from Brazil, England.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, I was like, there's nothing better than this.
Yeah.
I want to be a UFC champion. This is how you do it.
What was the house like the rest of the day though? You have 4 or 5 hours of training between travel time and getting there. What are you guys doing the rest of it? This is pre-Instagram too, right?
Yeah. Well, so we had no TV, no radio, no phone. We couldn't social media. We couldn't call home. We were like locked out.
The fuck do you do all day?
No books. You couldn't. The only book we could have is the Bible. It was like I read the first couple pages of the Bible one day. I was so bored. I was like,
that's boredom.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're bored.
But they don't want you to get
in trouble, probably.
No, they want you to get in trouble. If you're watching TV all day, you're probably not.
Did they feed you alcohol?
So if you wanted food, you'd have to write a list of the food you wanted, and they'd go at night, and then in the morning you'd wake up and whatever food you wanted would be there for you.
It's not bad.
But if you wanted, it was cool, and really, they unless you wanted lobster or something,
they got whatever you wanted.
You could eat pretty good, you definitely eat clean. But then if you wanted,
you think the UFC would do that for people now?
Well, in Vegas they do. In Vegas,
that fight center.
Yeah.
And Ngannou lives there. It looks like.
Yeah. Yep. There's some guys that just move out there. I mean, Aljamain Sterling bought a house in Vegas
just to be able to go there and train.
That among other reasons, definitely the tax benefits.
Yeah, no state income tax.
No state income tax is great.
I'm trying to get the fuck to there or Florida for that reason.
Yeah, the cost of living is
What do you get a place like Henderson for cheap and shit like that?
Yeah, it's not.
Especially then, Henderson, you got a spot for nothing.
Yeah.
2010, 12.
He's pretty close. It's not Henderson. I forget where he is, but he's not too far from the.
You know my buddy Jason Griggs, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Griggs is my fucking boy. Shout out Griggs.
Shout out Griggs.
He does real estate out there.
He's the one that sold Aljo. He got Aljo the house.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Shout out Griggs. You need a house in Vegas. Look up Jason Griggs.
Absolutely.
But he was telling me to get on Henderson real estate fucking 8-10 years ago. My place has like tripled since then.
Yeah.
I should have listened to him, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, they you also request alcohol on this list. By the way, how do you like the Cradle?
It's good. It's got an interesting taste.
Yeah, I mean, I make my own concoction, so it tastes. That's actually the best tasting kratom you'll ever have.
Really good.
Because normally kratom tea does not taste good.
Really.
Yeah, my buddy's over at Kava Sutra in the city. I'm putting Al for his first time onto your kratom. Looks like he enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good.
If anyone doesn't know what kratom tea is, you should try it. It's something different. I don't even drink alcohol anymore. Now we're talking about it because of this stuff. Like I just rather drink this. There's no hangover. Doesn't fuck. It doesn't. I'm still in control. I can still drive after.
Yeah, I feel good right now.
Yeah, it makes you like a little bit up. Makes you feel good. You know.
Definitely.
I like it.
No, it's good.
But yeah, so back to alcohol. So how does that go down? In the house?
Alcohol. If you want alcohol, the food was the next day. If you want alcohol, you pick up the phone and you call, and they bring it to you immediately.
Damn, they want you to get drunk.
They want you to get drunk. They want you to start a fight. To start, they'd be like, you can't fight. You can't wreck things. You can't break anything.
But here's a fucking case of beers.
But and then if it happens, they're kind of like, whatever. But there was a couple days where, so I fought. I was the fourth fight, so it was the fourth week, and I knew that I fought Miles Jury, and I won that fight, and I knew that so I fought to get on, then I fought Miles Jury the fourth week, and I knew that I wasn't gonna have to fight again
for another month, right?
For another month. So I just got one day. I woke up and it was our day off, and I didn't even tell anybody. I just started drinking, right? And then a couple guys there, they could tell, they're like, What do you drink? What have you been drinking all day?
It was like a Tuesday afternoon or something.
Yeah. It was our day off. I forget what our day off was, whatever it was. And then a bunch of the other guys that had fought already started drinking with me, and we ended up wrecking the place. We
getting shit faced.
We were throwing knives in the cabinets, and I was jumping in the pool. You have microphones, and they were like, "Don't jump in the pool with the microphone." I was jumping in the pool. Like
the new lavalier mic, $500.
Yeah, so we got pretty rowdy, and the producer came and was just screaming at us, and we were all bombed. We were laughing in their face.
And what the hell is he gonna do to a room full of fighters anyway?
Yeah, well, I ended up getting fined. Like every fine was $200. It was like I got fined 2 or 3 times. So I still, whenever I see him, I go, I want my money back.
Give me my $600 back, bro.
Give me that fine back. You know,
it's made for good TV.
Yeah. And they ended up not even putting that stuff on. That was like the best. That would have been the best TV.
That's fucking funny.
But they didn't want to put it on when the producer came and yelled at us and whatever. But and they only had so much time, I guess, to play to edit, and they wanted the show to go in a certain direction. But I think there was some things that, if they put on, would have been so funny, you know.
They say half the footage gets left on the cutting room floor, the editing room. But
yeah.
I haven't. It's been fucking. I haven't watched that show in I don't even know how many years. Did you go home as you lose, right?
No, that season they kept you
the whole season, no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they kept you as a training partner, because the finale was.
So did the guy stay enthused? Like if I lost like first week, I find it hard to think that I would stay there for 12 weeks and be like a enthusiastic partner and training, you know.
So the finale was the last week. So it was 13 weeks, and the finale was the last. So it was like the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the finals were 3 consecutive weeks. So I fought three weeks in a row. Yeah, nuts.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
that's like UFC 1 type shit.
It really
used to do the 3 fights in a night.
That's how when they asked me about it, they were like, "How you feel going into this finale after fighting 2 times in the last 2 weeks?" And I was like, "They did it in UFC 1. They did it in 1 day, so I could do it." You know?
It can be done.
Yeah.
How did your quarter and semifinal fights go? Were they rough fights?
My semifinal, my semifinal.
Quarterfinal was easier.
Quarterfinal, I won. I knocked out Andy Ogle. I had a little bumps, and I got out pretty unscathed. And then the semifinals, I fought Vince Pichel, and it was 2 rounds, because you can only fight so many rounds in a week or whatever it is,
by law.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Keep it right under.
So it was 2 rounds, and then if you I forget what it was, but it could have gone to a third. I think maybe.
I think if it's 1-1, they maybe do a third. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, but I ended up winning both rounds, but I jacked my knee up
in the semifinal.
Yeah,
this is the first knee injury.
Yeah. So and a bunch of other. I was really banged up. This is a long 13 weeks. You know,
I think no fighter goes into a fight 100%.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, after that season, there's nothing. Yeah, everybody went in. But going up so when they didn't send people home, they kept everyone on the show. The finale, even the guys that lost, they matched up. So they were training the whole time.
Okay, so you still got to fight.
They were gonna know
That's
that
like keep
they,
ahead in the game. Okay,
yeah,
I see.
Yep. So
Did you know? And you fucked your knee up bad that day.
yeah, it was
and you had
pretty
only
bad.
a week till the next fight.
Yeah.
So what do you do for that week? Did they send you to the doctor? How did they handle
I didn't
that?
even tell anybody. Like me and my
Shit.
trainer, me and Ray Longo, and all the coaches, we kind of just kept it to ourselves. I remember being
You don't want them to pull you from the final.
exactly. I kind of thought it was better to fight, and I thought I was gonna win. Still, I really felt confident that going into it. I knew he had injuries too. His father actually passed away while he was on the show. Pretty wild.
Fucking
Yeah, he went home for the weekend to go to the funeral, go to the whole process with that, and then he came back and ended up like the
Shit.
underdog. It really is a crazy story for him. He was probably the underdog the whole time, every fight he was in, and
Oh, I'm sure you had an extra motivation with that. I mean,
to
that's
come
something-
through and win with that. Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
fuck.
incredible. But I knew he had a bunch of, you know, my knee was banged up, but I knew there was a bunch of things. He fought also 2 weeks before that. So I felt confident going into it, but it didn't go my way. You
Yeah,
know,
it happens, man.
and yeah, but
Can't win them all.
you can't win them all.
It's fucking yeah.
But
But obviously, you impressed enough people that you got into the UFC anyway.
yeah,
And you didn't have to fight again before you went to the UFC. You had the contract after that, correct?
yeah, yep,
So yeah, so obviously you had proven enough
Yeah.
in your time there.
yep. And I had the surgery right after that show.
Did you get to interact with Dana while you were there?
A little bit, not too much. He would come in and give like his speeches, for the camera, and he would after the fights he'd bring the coaches and match up the next guys and stuff like that. But not too much.
Not too much interaction
too
with the fighters one on one.
Nah, not really. No.
I'm sure he's busy, but
Yeah.
I always wonder what he's like in real life. He seemed like he'd be a cool guy, but then I guess if you have to go business against him, it becomes a little bit
Definitely a cool guy to hang out with, I'm sure. Business wise,
He's a shark.
He's on their team.
yeah,
So,
100%.
Yeah.
So then starts your UFC career. Want some more
Yeah.
tea?
sure.
I have any left. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, that stuff's good.
Yeah, this is the good shit. Let's see if
It's
I got-
almost happy hour, right?
Yeah, what time is it?
The Kratom happy hour.
Every hour's great, man.
All right.
But so now you're in the UFC. You're I wouldn't say your childhood dream, but well, first off, salute.
Cheers.
Yeah, man.
Salud.
But definitely everything you've been working for at this point, 6-7 years, and also the culmination of your entire wrestling career kind of ties into this. You're finally you made the pro. You made the. It's weird with fighting because you're a pro when you're in ring of combat, but you don't feel like it's like a minor league, but you put it before right perfect. It's like being a AAA team.
No, I definitely feel it. It's definitely, you start making money. That's
Yeah.
the thing. You sell tickets, but and then you make a little money. When I was the champion in the ring combat, I made a little bit of money, get some sponsors. You feel like a pro. At that point, it's not.
But you still have one more level to reach.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, before you can't live. I mean, you
It's
got
like the NBA D League maybe or AAA uniform league in this
Yeah,
in
yeah.
baseball. But now you're at the highest level it gets at. And what is that fucking feeling like?
that was like that was it, man. You're like, now it's just now it's kind of like training on the job.
And you're also that's still pre-Reebok contract, right? When you got to the UFC?
Yeah.
So you still had your sponsors, individual sponsors.
Yeah. That was fun. That was a fun time. Good. I had a couple good sponsors that were paying me some decent money, and you want to win because the more you win, say you have a 1-year contract with a brand, the next year you win 5 fights, you can kind of negotiate between them and play them against each other and stuff like that. So
What sponsors did you have at that point? I remember those days where it was so random. On the stuff on the shorts, it'd be like an underwear company, a real estate
Condom
company.
Depot. I never. And then there's like Dynamic Fastener, and I never knew what Dynamic Fastener was. I think it was like
But
a
fucking
car.
put 'em on there.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was sponsored by Torque. I had all companies and Uriah Faber, he was the one that put me on to Torque.
What's Torque?
Torque was Now it's more of a BMX and
It's close.
yeah, clothes, and they did gear, gloves, shin guards, headgear, stuff like that. And it was Uriah he was part owner in the company. Um, so Torque, American Ethanol was still still a sponsor of mine. Their ethanols, they're the big one
Like
of
a
the
gas
biggest.
company.
Yeah, one of the
Interesting.
biggest producers of ethanol out of South Dakota. Um,
Shout out them.
yeah, shout out American Ethanol. Those guys, through all the injuries, they
That's cool,
really
man.
believed in me, and
That's fucking cool.
yeah,
They're big fight fans.
big fight, huge fight
You
fans.
said South Dakota. You said.
South Dakota, yeah,
I guess what the
yeah,
fuck else they gonna do out there?
yeah. They turn corn into ethanol.
Oh, it's like the E85 stuff.
Yep,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
it. Yeah. They got a race car in
That's dope.
in NASCAR. So
Those guys out there, I
they
spent a lot
bring
of
us
time in
out.
California, and those guys, you don't realize like a different world. They're not really into the same shit we are. The racing shit is huge, huge. The drag racing, even like the track racing, from go karts to fucking Formula One to like the weird shaped crazy ones like that have the roll cage and a big wing on it. What those things are called.
Yeah.
That's what they do out there, man.
Yeah.
They're really big into that shit.
They brought us out. American Ethanol brought us out to the Daytona 500.
That's
A
what's
bunch
up.
of the fighters and stuff. So
It's a
they're
bucket
cool.
list item for me. How was that?
Yeah. Oh, it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
awesome. It was like you watched the first. So they brought us down onto the
Like the pit in the middle.
yeah, for the start. We watched the start, and then
It's a big party there, basically, right?
after that you watch the first couple laps,
And then what are you gonna do?
and then you go to the bar and you're drinking.
It's
Yeah, and then there's 20 laps left. You go down and you're like,
just a giant party.
everyone's tuned up. You're just getting, you're getting crazy for the last couple laps, and the finish is.
You come for the first one. I'll see you in 496 laps.
It's
I'll be
it
back.
really is. It's a long day. It was a long day, but it's a fun event. You definitely got to get there.
Yeah,
and check
I want to
it
go to
out.
one of the big ones. Probably Daytona 500.
Yeah.
But so these are your sponsors now. When the Reebok deal happens, did that fuck you over basically?
Yeah, even before that, once the kind of rumblings of the Reebok deal came through, they started cutting out the sponsors.
The UFC or the sponsors didn't want to do it because they knew it was coming.
The sponsors, yeah,
Yeah, you
they wouldn't
can't blame
sign
them.
you to like a new 1 year contract. It was like, this Reebok deal is gonna take effect in 4 months.
A lot of fighters had a big problem with that. I guess understandably so.
Yeah,
They got
yeah.
some money from Reebok, but nowhere near what you would get from individual sponsors. I'm assuming.
I was always a fan of like eat what you kill. If you're good with the sponsorship, you can make a lot of money. And if you weren't going to make a lot of money. It's about relationships and networking and connections. And if you had a good, my management team was really close with the guys like American Ethanol. So
Plus the
I
business
was,
half of the game.
yeah, I was doing pretty good with it. I was doing pretty good with the sponsorship thing, and I saw a big upside in win a few fights and really get my name out there. And I would have been making some good money. And the Reebok stuff, they didn't really pay. I mean, it wasn't it was dependent on how many fights you have in the UFC, which is still is now. So if you had like 5 fights, you're making this much. You have 10
It was like a
fights.
tiered system.
Yeah. If you
How many fights have you had now in the UFC?
That's a good question.
Joey, go to Sherdog.
I'm
SEHERDOG.
gonna say like 13. Maybe?
Wow, you've had that many fights in UFC?
And then 4 that didn't count on the Ultimate Fighter.
Those don't count.
Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
Just the one that I lost. The finale counted because that was 3 5-minute rounds.
Oh, okay. So it was a
the rest
full
of them were
regulation
2,
game, I guess,
possibly
whatever.
3.
Got you.
Yeah. Which you could still bet on them. My friends still bet money on those fights, but they didn't count on my record, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. We could bet fucking anything nowadays. Bet the fucking coin flip at games and shit.
Yeah.
Bet the weather. So who were your first fights in the UFC?
For Ryan Couture, Randy Couture's son.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a fucking legendary.
Yeah.
So how old was he? How old is Randy? His son's already in the UFC. He's that old?
Yeah, I guess.
Or he had a kid when he was like 18.
Probably a little both. Yeah.
He's got to be like 50 now, actually. I think about it, right?
Yep.
Who else were your early fights?
Fought a guy named Piotr Holman. He's a Polish guy. Ended up testing positive for steroids.
After your fight, or from
Maybe
different
like
fight?
3 or 4 fights later.
Gotcha.
Which I kind of was like, kind of suspected.
He's too jacked for this
Yeah,
shit.
he was super strong in the first round, and then towards
He
the end,
gassed.
he kind of he gassed out.
That's a whole nother part of the fight game that I feel like doesn't get talked about. I think a lot of people just don't really know about it enough. But the performance enhancing drugs. What year did USADA come in? Had to be like
Yeah, I don't know.
2013, 14 maybe.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you see pre and post USADA pictures of the same fighters.
Yeah.
And it looks like someone fucking stuck a pin in a blow up doll
Mhm.
and all, like Vitor Belfort. I mean, you see
Yeah.
Vitor, TRT Vitor, as they say, and he was a fucking Adonis. He could have walked out of the ring and hopped on stage as a physique competitor. Like, he was just fucking juiced to the gills.
Yeah.
And then you see him after, and you're like, is that the same fucking guy?
Yeah.
Even like, what you ever say, they call him Uberim.
Yeah. That guy
Alistar
was
Overeem, when he was on
crazy.
shit, was fucking. He looked like a god.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, he looked like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah,
You're like, what
yeah.
the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing. You feel like a lot of guys, obviously they were cheating then. You think a lot of guys are still cheating?
Ah.
Because even like as recently as last year, I mean, Dillashaw got caught.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? EPO he got caught on?
Yeah.
Which is, people don't know, EPO is a performance enhancing drug that basically, if I'm not mistaken, raises your blood cell count. I forget, red or white, so that you have more endurance.
Yeah.
So you get more oxygen deeper into the rounds. And he got caught after he was a world champion. I mean, I'm sure he was doing that for the whole career.
Yeah. I mean, he was a freak.
Yeah.
And I mean, his like his cardio was just insane. When he beat Barao in that fight to win the belt, that was like a masterful performance.
And that
was-
pace is just impossible to sustain. Like, how was that
it
physically,
was
humanly possible?
crazy. And it's kind of
It's sad what happened to him. He got a long suspension, didn't he? Wasn't it 2 or 3 years they gave him?
yeah. His last fight was Cejudo. When he lost to Cejudo, he went down to 125.
I think they, because I think what happened was he popped in that one, but then they went back and tested older samples from previous fights and realized he had also taken it for those. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I don't think he did. I don't think he.
No?
I don't think he got caught for anything before that. I'm pretty sure. I was.
I could be wrong.
I was on top of that.
allegedly. I don't
Yeah,
want to get
yeah.
sued.
Yeah. I was on top of that pretty good. I think that he. I don't think he. I think. I don't think they ever found anything from.
I loved
previous
watching
fights.
him fight. He was one of the
Yeah.
most entertaining fighters to watch. Those
Yeah.
the small, I feel like the smaller guys are just, I guess maybe, I don't know if I say more skillful, but it's more action for sure.
Yeah.
And I love watching him. I loved Cody Garbrandt. He's had a like rough couple of last years.
Yeah.
But when he was coming up, he's one of the most vicious punchers, I don't care about pound for pound, I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, he's just got that extra gear of like, it reminds me of Vitor, where he looks like it's scary when you
Yeah.
watch him throw hands.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
where's that
Yeah,
coming from?
yeah,
Like,
he's
he's
whipping
like a
up.
rage in him almost.
And Dillashaw was one of the first guys to really switch stances
Yeah.
mid combination.
Crazy
When
footwork.
he fought Barao, it was like that fight was. I watched that fight and I was like, this guy is on a whole. He's changing the game.
Yeah.
Like that fight changed the game.
Yep.
People saw that fight and the whole world of fighting saw something that no one's ever done before. And it's upsetting when years later he tests positive for something because you don't know if
If it had something to do with it the whole time. How
Yeah.
does that make you feel as a fighter? Do you feel like you look at him differently? You feel cheated? Like,
yeah, you do definitely, and you kind of feel for Barao, because his career was really never the same after that. That was a
and he got cheated.
career changing loss, but you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get caught for that, but it poses the question and puts doubt in your mind about
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Before Cejudo, had he lost to Cruz already? Yeah, right.
Yes, yeah.
But before, I'm trying to think of,
And he won the
timeline's
belt.
confusing now
I think
because it's
he
been a
won the
while.
belt. Yeah, he won the belt back, right, and then he went down to 125.
I'm not sure, but I know coming from my experience with knowing people and how people use performance enhancing drugs, it's unlikely that you get that far in your career where you're already the champion and then you start taking it. Like, that
Yeah.
would be odd.
Yeah.
It just
Yep.
doesn't make. I mean, again, I don't know, but to me, it's a little whatever.
Yep.
But in the whole sport, and I don't even know. Do they test for HGH? Is it even possible to test for growth hormone?
I think they do.
They do.
I think they could. Yeah.
because that's one of those things where I feel like I don't know if you're a fight. I don't know why they wouldn't allow it. People are putting such a toll on their body. Like, why not help them recover? Like, why not? I almost wish they allowed some of the drugs to be done. I think it would help the sport. Like, if it's done correctly by a doctor in small amounts, not doing it to become a fucking monster juice head, but just
Yeah.
help with the recovery. I mean, people are torching their bodies.
No, for sure.
Like, HGH especially, it really doesn't. It's not going to make you that much bigger, faster, stronger. It's just going to help you recover from your workouts better.
Yeah.
And now there's a thin line with people using like peptides. I don't know if you're familiar with what those are. It's stuff like this. It's big in like the weightlifting community. Peptides and SARMs, they're called, where they're basically legal steroids. They like change the compound around, or it's like you're not taking testosterone, but you're taking this injection that that makes your body produce testosterone.
Okay.
So it's legal, it's safer, it's supposed to be more targeted. I actually work with a company called Purity Peptides that makes these ones that are very specific. And like, if you want to burn fat, there's a way you take it for that. Like, as opposed to like when you take an anabolic steroid where your whole system is getting beefed up with, or taking growth hormone, your whole body's getting, every cell is growing faster. Peptides are targeted. They have one for muscle growth, they have one for fat burning, whatever it is, and they work not as much as steroids do. But I don't see why, if someone's a professional athlete, why would you limit things they can take to make them better, like to an extent? I mean, I don't know how you feel about that. You're in it more than I am, but
I go back and forth with it. I feel like I really don't have a problem fighting a guy that's on performance enhancing drugs. I feel like if it's illegal and you're taking it, there's a reason you're taking it. There's probably a little bit of doubt in your mind to begin with.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I think that the guy that I fought that tested positive, I think that the
Polish dude.
Yeah, I think that there was a little bit of doubt.
What was his name?
Piotr Holman, P-I-O.
Joey, pull him. I want to see what he looks like.
P-I-O-T-R. I mean, he wasn't like shredded, jacked up or anything.
No?
I mean, he was big and strong. He was a big 155er. He was definitely strong.
Piotr.
Yeah.
He's got to be on there somewhere, Joe.
Yeah, he's gonna be the.
So I'm interested to see what he looks like.
I'm interested to see what he's been doing. He won his last 3 fights, huh? Probably not in the UFC.
Pull that up, big screen, Joe. Yeah, I mean, he's getting weighed in there, so obviously he's shredded, but 19-6, I mean, he's had a pretty good career.
Yeah. Oh, so he's been active recently.
Did I say 185 though?
Probably started.
55.
Oh, 55. Okay.
Yeah, he was tough.
He's on a little bit of a streak right now. Is he still in the UFC?
No, I think they cut him after a little bit.
Boxing.
Oh shit. He lost 3 in a row and then they cut him from UFC, it looks like a couple years ago. 2014 is that, or 18? My eyes are like not working properly right now.
Yeah.
15.
Oh, all right. Well, after that fight, you had a couple other big fights in the UFC. You said Diego Sanchez you fought.
Diego Sanchez.
When was that?
That was the years get all mixed up, but that was
2017.
17. Yeah.
How was that?
That was that was a cool fight, man. That was I fought before that was Masvidal. I fought Masvidal and that,
I didn't know you fought Masvidal.
Yeah. So I went on a little bit of a run where I was fighting guys that I really watched growing up, and like I had imagined myself fighting them. Like I was watching them in the UFC before I even really like started fighting.
Who else is on that list?
Ross Pearson was first.
Okay.
Then Joe Lazone. Then Masvidal.
Scroll up, Joey. And you beat Masvidal.
Yeah, split decision.
And Sanchez. I know you beat Sanchez. And you knocked Sanchez out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty quick knockout.
So you beat Street Jesus.
Yeah.
Al from Wantor,
Yeah.
my neighboring town, beat Street Jesus. Isn't it funny to see his ascension over the last like 2 years?
So I love it, man. I love it.
I love him. He's an awesome fucking guy. He's just cool as fuck. And he started on Kimbo Slice, basically backyard brawls.
Crazy. Yeah, so I was like watching that before I even started fighting.
Before we had long hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, shaved head more, Jorge.
Yeah.
He seems like an awesome fucking guy. And how did that fight go with him?
He beat me up in the first round, and then I came back.
You really are a slow starter, huh?
Yeah. You know, I definitely cardio toughness is
what separates you.
They're like good attributes I got. So I'm not like the fastest, most explosive guy. Good technique, but the first round he beat me up pretty good. He dropped me. He almost finished me at the end of the round. I survived. It was actually eerily similar to that Gabriel Miglioli fight, before.
Well, that's what. See, what I would say is like, you can't experience is nothing that you can. I'm sorry, I'm mixing my word. You can't replace experience, right?
Yep.
So in a way, getting beat up by the guy Gabriel prepared you for that, because I'm sure as tough as you are in a Gabriel fight, you're in uncharted territory for yourself, right?
Yeah.
But when you're in a Masvidal situation, like, okay, I've been here before.
Been
I
here.
know I could ride this out. I know I can come back. I know my cardio is good. I know when that bell rings, I get a little bit of a breather. I can do this. I've done it before.
Yep.
And that's priceless to
Yeah.
have been in that situation before.
Yeah.
So that's probably what the reason why you were able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it definitely, that was one of the big, that's why when people ask me like my favorite fight is that the Miglioli fight. I think that,
In Ring of
I think
Combat.
that really,
Prepared you.
Yeah. Yeah. And who knows if I would have made it on the Ultimate Fighter that first season,
They would have been completely different.
yeah, everything would have been different. And, but
How'd the rest of Masvidal go after that? After he survived the first round?
then the second round was close, and then the third round I kind of pulled away. He took his foot off the gas. He struggled to get down to 155. He was a big 155er.
So he was gassing.
So he was definitely
He fights at
gassing.
170 now, right?
Now he's up at 170. But yeah, it was a split decision. Then that's the one I cursed the crowd out. They were booing me after, and I was.
Where was that? Was Vegas?
That was in Virginia.
That's
Yeah,
random.
yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
like you, huh?
They didn't like me. No, they didn't like
Why?
me.
They liked Masvidal, or they just don't like New Yorkers, you think?
No, I think it was yeah, I don't know if it had anything to do with that. I think it was just the decision.
I don't know if you find that, but
Yeah.
I find a lot when I travel the country or the world. People have two very different reactions to New Yorkers' reactions, and it's usually polar opposites.
Yeah.
Usually people love it, or they fucking despise New Yorkers.
Definitely.
There's something they hate about New Yorkers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they announced the decision, and Masvidal was like, oh, what the, you know what I mean? He made like a big fuss about it, and they started booing, and then I was like, F you all, whatever. And then as I was leaving, you hear like, yeah, fucking piece of shit New Yorker, but and that's when it came out. But yeah, they booed me. They didn't agree with the decision. Again, I think it could have went either way. I think it was close. He beat me up in the first round pretty good. And then the second round was like
The toss-up round.
round, third round. I came back, and it was a crazy fight.
Not to say it happened in your fight, but I feel like there's been some fucking horrible calls lately in the UFC.
Yeah.
Like these judges, man, I don't know where they get them from sometimes. And sometimes different states have different commissions running it. And sometimes you have guys that don't even know about martial arts, that boxing judges in there, and shit gets fucking crazy.
So one of the two judges had it 29-28 for me. And then the one judge had it 30-27 for him.
So saying that he won the round even though you dominated it.
Yeah. Not that I dominated,
Clearly
but
won.
I think I won. Yeah. It was I was pushing. I was the one fighting.
That should never happen, though. There should never
Yeah.
be. That's a 2-round discrepancy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, between the judges.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. And that judge actually, he's got a problem with our gym going back. There's like a whole story behind
Really?
that. Yeah. So I think that
Why he's had it against you guys since Sarah?
No, it's not even. It wasn't even about Matt. It was just it was a long thing that he has. Him and Ray didn't get along, and this guy is definitely probably, I'm gonna say, one of the worst judges in every single fight. He's the outside, like he's the
outlier in this course.
He's the one that doesn't fit if it's 29-28. He's the guy that's 30-27 the other way. And
It's a strange thing, man. It's one of those weird. So the weird thing about the sport, similar to bodybuilding, is that it's a subjective analysis, right? If you don't knock somebody out, it's unlike other sports where there's a score. Obviously, the referee has. Well, there's a referee in fighting too, so that's kind of a moot point. But in a basketball game, there's no judge at the end. If it's 90-84, team with 90 wins.
Yeah.
And fighting, it's just like, who did you think won that fight? It's a strange thing.
Yeah.
And I think I like Joe Rogan had the idea of making more judges,
Yeah.
kind of make it more of an average. The more people you have, the more likely it is to average out to where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't we have 9 judges?
Yeah. Yeah, even just five would be
whatever
cool,
it is. The more you have, as long as it's an odd number,
absolutely.
it's gonna make it a better chance.
But it's definitely it's subjective, like you said. It's even even depending on their background, you could see a fight a totally different way. You know, if I grew up a wrestler and I'm still
You're
a
gonna
very
value that stuff
very
more.
educated judge, and one guy's a boxer, grew up a boxer, very educated judge, they might see the fight two different ways, especially if it's a close fight.
100%.
So there's no, there really is no way to, in a close fight, to really, one guy's gonna think he won, the other guy thinks he won, his coaches thinks he won, his coaches think he won. So it's kind of, it is,
It's a shitty part of the sport.
yeah, and draws don't really happen too often, but maybe.
Have you had a draw?
Yes, I had a draw.
Is that the worst fucking thing in the world?
Yeah,
I feel like I'd rather lose.
yeah, because I won the fight, but they said I grabbed the cage
They docked you a point.
and they docked me a point.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was
on your first time, or they were warning you?
so yeah, he warned me, but even like when if you rest your hand on the cage, your fingers look, they kind of go in.
Yeah.
And so I was posting on the cage. It wasn't like I was getting taken down
And you're like held on.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like that. So it was
shame.
Yeah, it was a weird call. It was a close fight, tough fight.
Who was that against? That was in UFC?
No, that was in Ring of Combat. Will Martinez, who I fought as an amateur, beat as an amateur, and then we had a rematch as pros. Yeah.
That sucks. You guys need a rubber match.
Yeah. He's done fighting. We actually became really good friends. I'd see him at all the fights. He had a couple fighters in the UFC and a couple fighters in Ring of Combat, so I'd always run into him.
As a coach?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's a coach, really good jiu-jitsu guy.
And then the very next fight you had was Diego?
After
Masvidal?
After Masvidal, yeah. So I had a year. That's when I had the big surgery.
In between those two fights?
Yeah.
Wow.
So like right after that, and then I had maybe a year and a half, 2 years off, and then I fought Diego on a 4-fight win streak. Fought Diego, and then the one after that was the Khabib fight.
The Khabib fight was fucking crazy.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I was at that fight.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was for a while there from like 2014 to like 18. I was going to like every fucking UFC fight that was around. Like we went to the Barclays. I was going to Vegas a lot, onto all the McGregor fights. You get addicted. That feeling you talk about being in the crowd, that palpable energy. Other than, I said, I'm part Irish, so don't take this the wrong way, but Irish fight fans are the fucking worst. Bro, they came there as soon as McGregor would win, everyone starts throwing their beer.
Oh, crazy.
And I'm sitting there like an idiot. I started after that just wearing more casual clothes, but I used to go and get good ass fucking seats. I was ringside when Weidman beat Silva.
Yeah. Wow.
And they just throwing beer in there. I'm with my with a girl at the time, and I got a $2,000 dress on her. I'm in like a suit, you know what I mean? And it got fucking Guinness on my back all of a sudden. I'm like, I'll never go to another McGregor fight again.
Yeah.
Half of Ireland's there, drunk as a fucking skunk, can't hold that liquor. But I was at the Khabib fight. He was supposed to fight. Who was the fight he was supposed to have?
He was supposed to fight Ferguson first.
Was that when Ferguson tripped over the wire?
Yeah.
Supposedly, I don't know.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, it blew his knee out.
Yeah.
And then
Max Holloway.
And then Max Holloway couldn't make weight. They called him off.
Yeah. They flew him in from Hawaii on like a week's notice.
And then they were like scrambling, like who the fuck? So how much?
Yeah.
So people who don't know, if you're living under a rock or you don't like MMA, Khabib, I'll butcher his last name, Nurmagomedov.
Pretty good.
Close enough. Is pound for pound arguably the best fighter there ever was. If not, some people have different opinions. Obviously John Jones, GSP. He's on the Mount Rushmore pound for pound at this point. Has maybe the most. He has an undefeated. I think he's 29-0, and he's lost one round in his career, which is just like what the fuck is going on. And you took a fight against him on how long of notice?
It's like 36 hours. Yeah. Like a day and a half. Yeah.
So just to put you into the mindset of the man I'm sitting with right now, I want anyone here to just try and pretend to be in those shoes for a second, because everybody, a lot of people want to think what they would do. Same thing with that with getting choked out. Everyone to think like, I'm gonna go out, pass out before I tap out, whatever the fuck. You're not doing that, and you're not taking that fight with 36 hours to go. What was your weight at that point?
Well, I was fighting that night.
Oh, that's right. So you were
Yeah.
already in conditioning. You're already in shape. You're on
yeah.
target for weight. Regardless, forget that I even said that. With 36 hours to go, you say, okay, I'm taking a fight against the most dominant fighter in the UFC right now. I want everyone to think about that for a second, what that's like to get that phone call and to pretend like for a second like you would do that too. Lucky for you, I guess it was in your hometown. It was in New York.
Yeah.
It was, so at least that saved you a little bit, and
Yeah.
you were already going towards weight.
Yeah.
So Dana called you?
No, it was Dana actually wasn't really involved in that thing at all. It was the matchmaker, Sean Shelby.
So Sean Shelby calls you and says,
well, no, I kind of called him.
Really?
I was chasing him around the hotel.
Get the fuck out of here.
So it was that the bus thing happened with Conor when he came and threw the thing through the bus.
Yeah, fucking crazy. Were you there for that?
I was on the bus.
You were on the bus during the Conor attack.
And Khabib was sitting right behind me. He was
okay. We got a lot to go over right now. I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the
crazy.
Let's start with the bus
Yeah.
because that happened before the fight. So now, sorry, take it one step further. When the bus attack happened, did you and Sean already speak? The fight was set or no?
So no. So I weighed in against Paul Felder.
Okay, so that was so the bus happened before you knew you were fighting Khabib.
The bus thing was after the media day.
Yeah.
So it was media day.
So at that point, you're still fighting Felder in your head.
And
Okay,
he's
so
fighting-
let's do that first because let's keep it in chronological order.
Yeah.
So you're on the bus. You had just left media day.
Yeah, media day happened. We get on the bus to leave.
Where are they bringing you?
So they're bringing us back to the hotel.
Okay.
The weigh-ins were the next day.
Okay.
So we had to cut weight, and like I was already, I had maybe like 4 or 5 pounds to go. So I was already pretty kind of sucked out.
You're on the bus. You're miserable because of weight. You just finished media day. Probably fucking finally going back to the hotel.
Yep.
And what happens next?
They just started pulling the bus into, there's an elevator in the Barclays Center. So the bus goes in and then the elevator brings it down and then you it takes you to where you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just starting to back up and I hear banging on the like a bunch of people. It sounded like I was thinking first is there fans down here? Like are the fans trying
to surrounding the bus?
Yeah. And then it was aggressive. It was like boom, boom, boom. And quick went through my head. They just started pulling the bus away. They were running somebody over, and like, are they banging like stop? You're killing
at this
somebody.
point, is everybody in the bus like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah, everyone. No one. It happened so fast. No one was even. You couldn't even. There was no. No one was saying anything. It was just like happened like that. It was like boom, boom, boom. So I'm thinking, I was like, are they running somebody over? And then some glass just shatters. And it was I was in the back right, and this was in the front left. Just something comes flying through the window and shatter. I thought there was a terrorist attack.
Like, what the fuck is this?
I didn't know. It was not good. I was getting ready for the war. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And then I saw him come running around.
Conor
came running around and he picked up whatever was like
a dolly
barricade. The dolly was what
that was going through the windshield, whatever.
Then he picked up a barricade and he's running over to the bus with it. And
what's going through your head at that moment?
I pulled out my phone and I just started. I started videotaping.
World star.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. I posted the video that I have.
Oh, Joey, please pull that up.
Yeah. And they ended up using the video.
But are you like when you see him run over, like what are you thinking? Is it funny at that point, or are you still like,
but I was relieved. I was like, oh,
it's Conor.
I was like, at least we're not. I didn't know.
Dying today.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like a freaking mortar that got shot through. I don't know what the hell it was, So once
did you immediately be like, oh, he's here for Khabib? Like you knew immediately.
Yeah. Once I saw that, I didn't really put everything together, but I did. I was, oh, okay, this is not this is a fight. This is it's Conor. He's whatever. He's drunk. He's whatever. So he came up to the window and he was yelling at Khabib.
What was he saying?
You couldn't really tell. He was just yelling and
what is Khabib doing?
Khabib, it
'Cause, like,
all
it's-
happened so fast.
He was probably just confused.
Yeah, it was mayhem. It was
People
so
try to
crazy.
put keep it against him, like, oh, he like hit on the bus, and like he looked more confused and he looked scared. He
Yeah,
probably, like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
No,
is
he
going
was
on?
ready to go. They wanted to get off. Him and Ali, his manager.
Yeah,
They were there. They wanted to get off.
send me a location.
Yeah, yeah. They wanted to, they were ready to go.
The video of him sucked out, talking to the camera, saying, "Why you attack bus?
Yeah,
Just tell me, anytime, any place. Just send me a location."
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
still one of the
yeah.
most gangster things
It's
I've ever seen in my life.
epic. And so that was in the back. After that happened, so they pulled the bus into that elevator and they kind of shut the security got those guys away.
And the not so funny part about it is one of the girls on the bus actually got something in her eye, right? She actually fucked up from that, I think.
One of the guy fighters did.
Oh, was it a guy?
Ray Borg.
Oh, here's the video you took. Let me see this.
Yeah, that's him yelling.
This is you recording this?
Yeah.
Holy shit. And for the backstory, if anyone for some reason doesn't know what's going on here, Khabib and Conor Khabib and Conor were beefing for a while before this. And Conor was in Ireland, and Khabib and his team actually approached one of his teammates. What tells his name again?
Artem
Lobov. And kind of because Artem was maybe talking shit online or whatever, and Khabib and his whole team ran up on him, and Khabib kind of gave him like a little gangster face pat and surrounded him, and Artem, with 12 guys around him, didn't do much. So Conor was in Ireland, I think, presumably on a tear, and he got on a fucking private jet with a bunch of his boys, flew to New York on some also gangster shit,
Yeah.
and rolled up with a bunch of his Irish hooligans on the bus that Khabib was in, and literally went to attack him. I wonder if he waited for him to get on the bus, or if he just missed him, and what the fuck would have happened had it been 3 minutes earlier, it was outside of the bus. That could have been some crazy fucking shit.
Yeah.
But what a fucking insane, epic, like one of the most historic moments in UFC history outside the ring, if not the. And you were front and center, literally sitting next to the guy who was being attacked and filming it.
It was wild.
That's so fucking dope.
Yeah, I would have liked to have been on the plane ride over. That must have been fucking.
They were probably
that
just
would have been
ripping all of that. Oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
He went through probably an ounce of coke on their flight over.
Yeah, but they were just out of their minds. Out of their minds. They came in guns blazing.
Did you watch his
Yeah.
documentary, Notorious?
I didn't.
Got to.
Yeah,
Oh, bro, it was one of the best documentaries I've ever seen.
really.
I was sitting there, I was laying down in bed when I first started watching it. By the time it was over, I was fully sitting up.
Yeah.
Like, it gives you chills, and it gives you an insight into kind of like who he is off camera and stuff, and it makes it make more sense, and you see kind of like, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it made you so, the documentary starts, he's on welfare, like an apprentice plumber, living in like a 1-bedroom small shitty apartment with his girl. And this girl's like holding him down like the whole way.
Yeah,
You get chills watching. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's. I heard that they had a lot of old footage that.
From
was
from
kind
like
of crazy. How they,
it's a must fucking see. If
Yeah.
you like Conor, if you like MMA, if you're just like amazing stories. This is, I mean, one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. It was amazing. So, you guys get back to the hotel eventually. Did the cops come?
Yeah, they brought us all into the back, and that's when the cops came. They brought us all into kind of a room underneath the Barclays Center, and the cops were doing whatever they were doing. They were, Mike Chiesa was supposed to fight that card. He got cut open. The
Oh,
glass.
so the guy that you fought was the one.
Yeah, well, he got cut, and then Ray Borg got glass.
Oh, Ray Borg. That's one
got
of the
in
last
his
in the
eye,
eye. That's
and
right.
then Rose Namajunas she got all shook up. She was like, it was pretty crazy. Like if she was sitting right there.
Yeah, why'd that make her she wasn't able to fight though, right? Didn't she pull out?
No, she fought. I'm pretty sure.
She did?
I think she did.
Doug Rose.
Yeah, Doug Rose.
I don't know, she did. She won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it was she ended up fighting. It was the fight right before my fight. She was a co-main event.
Yeah.
And then so the cops talked to us, and that's when he did the interview.
That's what that sucked out Undertaker face.
Yeah, because he had to weigh in the next day, and he had a tough time making weight.
He always does.
Yeah,
It seems like he's always fucking got a big cut.
yeah. And
But-
that kind of messed up the weight cut a little bit.
I'm sure.
Took an extra. We were down there probably. It seemed like
A couple
a
hours,
couple
right?
hours. The cops came. They took reports.
And
they
then
did
not only
what
that,
they
but you
did.
have, cortisol release, I'm sure, the stress hormone when that makes you hold on to water. So that's probably makes the cut just, biologically harder.
Yeah,
But at this point, you're still thinking of fighting Paul Felder. Did they separate the people that are fighting two different buses?
yeah. It's two different buses.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So were you and Khabib talking at all before that, at this point?
A little bit. It was kind of weird. I was like, I'm gonna fight this guy eventually. I should probably not become like super good friends with him. And,
Yeah.
like it'd be kind of weird. We were joking. One of the guys from the UFC, when the thing came through the window and the window broke, he got into the position where he tucks his head into his lap, like the plane. When the plane's going down,
Yeah.
they tell you to get into
Yeah.
that position. So we were kind of joking about that. We were like, oh, the guy's name was Chris. Chris he got into the position.
Fetal position, basically.
He was joking about it. He was like, "What did you think?" And
I
so
can't
I
see
mean,
a Khabib documentary one day.
oh yeah,
Coming from the mountains of Dagestan.
yeah. No, it's
So at this point, that happens. How long after that do you find out you're the one fighting Khabib?
then so we weighed in the next day. Everyone weighed in, and I weighed in, and that's when
They called it off for Max. He was
Yeah.
like dying.
yeah, he came in. I remember seeing him at the beginning of the week, and I was like, "This guy's huge."
Mm.
I'm a 55er, and he's a 45er. He had to weigh like 180 pounds at the time. I was like, "There's no way this guy." He was just he was, big. I
Is he a
was
tall
like,
guy?
pretty tall. Yeah, he was definitely.
And he looked
yeah,
big?
he's got. I think he's he might be like 5'11", is that 5?
It's weird because you never see a lot of fighters like when they're not in camp for what they walk around weight is.
Yeah,
And some of those guys where they say they're like, how is he making that? Like how?
he was definitely big and
Like Rumble Johnson used to make 185.
170.
He made 170?
He never really made it, but yeah, they did.
He fought at 170?
He fought at 170.
Bro.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
heavyweight now.
yeah. They showed a picture of him.
I saw stuff recently. You saw that when he's been into the gym?
No, I didn't see that.
Maybe he's been working out like bodybuilding,
yeah.
like lifting weights.
Yeah.
He got now I guess he's probably changing to come back to fight. But like maybe a year ago,
Yeah,
bro, he looked like he was 240.
yeah.
Monster.
Yeah. I think he's fighting for Bellator now. I think he's
Yeah, as a
signed with
heavyweight.
Bellator. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fighting Bellator.
He's one of the hardest punchers to ever live.
But so he fought. I forget the guy's name. I forget who he fought. But he fought him at 170.
Rumble?
Yeah, he's a Jersey guy. I just suck at remember. My memory with names is the worst. So they fought at 170, and then years later they saw each other at a fight, and they took a picture together. And Rumble is just gigantic
Yeah.
compared to him. It like doesn't even look fair, And it was like these guys fought at 170. It was like the caption. These guys
like a
both,
meme.
and yeah, and it was just he was gigantic compared, tall and big, just like crazy. But yes,
So Max misses weight, and now you're looking for Sean Shelby.
yeah,
Literally in the hotel.
yeah. So it was they were kind of like there was a bunch of 55ers. Anthony Pettis was on that card, Chiesa was on that card, but he got
Get cut.
kind of no one really knew what the hell was going on. They didn't know, is he gonna fight? At the time, I think he was ranked ahead of me, so he might have got the fight, but then the cut, he was out. Anthony Pettis, he was at whatever happened. I think he asked for too much money. You know what I mean? So he kind of like priced himself out of the fight.
Mm.
And then I went down there and I saw Sean Shelby from across the hotel, and I was like, "Oh, Shelby, I'm the guy." I was just yelling at him. At that time, we kind of had little we weren't getting along too well, me and him.
Like, let's just bury the hatchet.
Yeah, exactly. And he put his head down and he was like, "Oh, get this guy away from me," But then they gave me the call. They told me to come down, and they gave me the fight. And I didn't sleep. I slept maybe like 2 hours that night. So the night before that was the weigh-in. You don't really sleep. I don't really sleep the night before because I'm sucked out. You don't really get a good night's sleep.
Because like nerves or
No,
because
just because you're so hungry, your stomach's like you're dehydrated. a lot of guys, they have trouble sleeping.
I didn't know
the
that.
night before the weigh-ins. It's pretty, yeah,
Oh, so 2 nights before.
yeah.
Okay.
So the night,
Yeah.
the night, yeah, 2
How's
nights
that
before.
compared to the night before?
Then the night before, usually you're full, you have a full stomach, you know, you just ate, you just replenish, so you get a good night's sleep.
Okay.
But this, I was so wired.
Just like on the excitement.
Yeah, I
That's so
slept
cra- I
like
remember
so
that day very vividly. If everyone talking about Al's fighting tomorrow, everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. But my adrenaline just carried me through. I didn't, you know, I was wide awake. I barely slept, you know, the night before and that night, but I was just like wired. I was, you know, ready to go. I've been training for 3 rounds.
Oh yes, right now it's a 5-round
against
fight.
a striker. Now it's a
A 3 and now it's but 3 rounds for a striker, but you train for. You got 5 rounds against the best grappler ever, maybe.
yeah.
in UFC.
So you know, it was I was just like, we're going in there with what we got. I didn't really watch too much tape. I didn't really, you know, I had watched all his fights before that.
You knew what he was going to try to do. That's the same thing to everybody.
Yeah,
Take you down, wrap the legs up, push you against the cage.
yeah. And I was in a good mental spot. I was excited. I was like, I'm going in there and I'm just gonna freaking give him hell. I'm gonna go forward. And I, right off the bat, I went right after him. He got the takedowns in the first 2 rounds, and that kind of wore me a little bit. You know, just being up against the cage and trying to push myself up, I kind of burned my arms out a little
But you
bit.
went into that fight seemingly pretty confident.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely felt like
You didn't look afraid. That's the thing everyone was
nah,
kind of looking for. You didn't look it at all.
nah, definitely not. I was not. I was I was aware of his, you know, his strengths, and I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to go forward. I didn't want to get put against the cage, which I, you know, I ended up getting when he got the takedowns. It was against the cage.
Now, what is that? So he did I forget the particulars of the takedowns. He had you against the cage in the clinch
Yeah,
and then got you to the ground.
yeah. The first takedown he got, he kind of shot in from the outside and got a single leg, and he was just like holding on to it, which usually I can just slip my leg out, but it was in the beginning of the round. We were dry.
Yeah.
So I couldn't, and that's how he ended up getting that first takedown. Really not too he kind of dove in and was just hanging on to the lower part of my leg, and kind of not so much of a traditional uh like I wasn't prepared for that. I hadn't seen him do that before. So that was something that kind of surprised me. More of, I would say, not like amateurish, but definitely not like a high level
Move.
move,
Yeah.
you know, but just the strength that he had to just hold that leg.
He said, yeah, it
I
seems like he
couldn't.
just doesn't let go once he has a hold of you.
Yeah,
What's
that's
it like?
it.
So then, but then the second takedowns when he actually had more control of you on the ground.
Well, he got me down with the first one too and controlled me pretty well. I didn't
What's
get
it
it.
like being in the grasp of Khabib against the fence? Like, what is like? Is it something that you've never? Is it so superior to anything else you've ever felt before? Was it like out of the world different, or was it just the same as you always get? But his technique is just so
He's
clean.
definitely really strong, definitely good at using his weight the right way. You know, he feels like a ton of bricks on top of you. He's definitely um a master of control. And against the cage, he's really good at trips. He's got like his uh he'll kind of funnel you into where he knows, you know, he'll get you to step one way and then he'll sweep the leg out inside trip or outside the other way. So he's very good with that. And that's something that that's very unique. That's not something, cage wrestling is kind of you know, it's a unique skill that he's really mastered. So
Seems like it.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
didn't feel like out of this world different, the experience of him. Like, you know, when you're in the, I'm just trying to imagine what it's like, because I'm sure you've been in that position 1,000 times. You've gone through, you've wrestled your whole life. You've seen every kind of wrestling. You've seen an in a cage, every kind of grappling. You've been doing jiu-jitsu for over a decade. But when he's in control of that situation, is it completely alien to you? Is it completely different?
Uh, the way he chained his trips and takedowns, it's like he's been there a million times and he knows exactly what he's doing. If he goes for an inside trip and you step this way, he already knows where he's going next. You know,
It seems like he almost has like from what you describe it, like a jiu-jitsu mentality towards the wrestling and the trips. Like,
definitely.
you know how they in jiu-jitsu they give you limited options until they get you exactly where you're gonna want to go next. And he kind of does that before he gets you to the ground, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep. And he goes 100% for all the take. Like he's going for it. A lot of times the guys will be against the cage. They don't want to expend too much energy. They'll go for that initial takedown, and then if you defend it, maybe they'll kind of just like hold you and stay there.
He's committed.
He's committed to the first one. He's committed to the second one, and in his mind, he's getting that takedown. And there's no way, he's just going, and yeah, you don't want to sit against the cage against that guy at all. So
I remember watching the fight and thinking like, fuck, this is over when he got you down. And I think that a ton of people were incredibly surprised that you survived that. First round survival seems to be something that's very common with you. No matter what,
Yeah.
you get through it. And the fact that you went all 5 rounds, went the distance, I don't think anybody saw that. I cannot imagine what the line was for going the distance. And you showed again like that warrior heart, like people just don't possess. I mean, that was incredibly impressive.
Yeah. I mean, that was just the years of training.
But you did things that I don't see other people doing.
Yeah.
Like it seems like, and then after going into like round 3 and 4, you started, blocking his takedown attempts.
Yeah.
Which was like I remember watching that. Everyone's like, I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
And then you got him on his feet a little bit. You were sparring. You were exchanging blows with him, and we were just like, holy fuck, he's in this to win this. Like he's going for it.
Yeah, I went for it, man. I definitely went for it. Like I said, I got a little. He definitely wore my arms a little bit, so the punches were coming a little slower. I was definitely a little slow. He had a good jab. People underestimate his stand up looks a little maybe like
Amateurish.
Yeah, I guess you could say it from the outside looking in, but it's the way he holds his head back, he'll move his head back but he's definitely thinking back now, there's a million. I'm like, I'm like, oh, I should have done this. I should have just kicked the crap out of his leg. I could have done this and that.
That was almost the last fight. The almost that seems to be the only. Yeah, it seems to be the only thing. I feel like if Gaethje got a few more leg kicks in on him, he might have changed that fight.
Yeah.
Then he got that takedown and it was a wrap. But
you don't want to kick him too much.
You leave one foot open, that's it. Yeah,
you get taken down.
And that's what also I'm sure helps the stand up is that everybody's 1000% focused on when's he gonna shoot, when's he gonna shoot, when's he gonna shoot.
Yeah.
That it's funny. I think my buddy told me that him also, John Calstein.
Yeah.
So him and one of my best friends, they own a jiu-jitsu gym. It's called it's on Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn, the Grappling Club, I believe. Sorry, Felix, I'm blanking right now. I think it's the Grappling Club, and I went to go. I'm shooting a show right now called Kill Johnny, where I'm like traveling around and just training with the best trainers, getting through the toughest workout possible from each different discipline of fitness.
Oh wow!
So jiu-jitsu was one of them. I went to go train. I was like, I'm gonna go roll with a black belt. See what that feels like. So he's unreal. I mean, he won the Invitational in Dubai. Like he's just that top elite level. But that's what I wanted. But he's 150 pounds.
Yeah. Right.
Like normally, not like weight 50. Like he works around 155. And I went there that day like 210. So I'm like, I know I'm gonna lose today. Yeah, but like I don't know how. Like, I don't know how it's gonna happen. But his nickname is the heel hooking goblin.
Yeah.
And so and my boys telling me, he's like, the first thing he's gonna do is gonna tap you out by getting heel hook in like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So I went in there and I imagine this is what it's like. Like I'm sitting there just watching my own feet, like waiting for him to do that thing, like to dive on and take one of my ankles out. And all he did was just jump on my neck and pull me. And I was looking down the whole time.
Yeah.
So I feel like Khabib's stand-up game gets a couple levels up because everyone's so focused on don't get taken down, that it leaves you open for maybe striking that you wouldn't normally be hit with.
100%. Like Conor, that's how he dropped Conor. He kind of looked low, Conor, and then boom, he came right over the top.
He impressed me with that too. Against Conor, he dropped him.
His stand-up's good. Khabib, and he's getting better. He's getting better and better. But his stand-up's definitely it's like a little different. Not traditional kickboxing style. He's got his own real style. And it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. He's got a good jab. Jabbed the crap out of me.
Do you think he'll be beat if he comes back?
I don't know, man. That's no one's
cracked that code yet.
Yeah, no one's really. It's like.
But I would say, I think in his fights against anyone who's worth talking about, you probably have the most impressive outing against him.
I appreciate that. It was.
Who will be? I mean, maybe Conor would be second, but he didn't finish the fight, so I could even say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like who else has even gone the distance?
Yeah, I mean Conor definitely. He was
dominated Chandler, dominated Gaethje, not Michael Chandler, Michael Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Johnson had maybe a flurry that that
In the first round, he hit him
yeah,
once
he hit him with like a little
and it,
flurry
like stunned him.
Yeah,
But then after that, it was like he was
Yeah.
literally beating him up and telling him to quit.
yeah,
Like, it was some scary shit.
Yeah.
And so you went into that when you, for the record, when you requested for the fight, that had already happened.
What's that?
That fight where he was beating someone up and talking to Dana and telling him to quit.
Yeah.
So this guy asked for a fight against a guy who was literally holding down another top-ranked UFC fighter in the entire world, holding him down and saying, "You must quit. This is my belt. You'll know it. You must quit. Dana, I need the title shot." Beating him as he's doing it, as he's talking, half looking at the guy he's beating up on the ground, was curled up, and talking shit while asking the president of the UFC for a title match at the same time.
Give me your chicken. Give me your chicken.
You must. I don't want to hurt you.
It's funny, man. Yeah, but yeah.
And it was on the anniversary of the Serra win, wasn't it?
I think it was.
It was something crazy. I remember you did before. It was like the stars that aligned perfectly. It was like the 15-year anniversary of when he upset George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
And then he's your coach.
Yep.
And I remember being like, that would be so fucking dope.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You know, that was the opportunity of a lifetime to go in there and really had nothing to lose.
In Barclays.
Yeah, I had nothing to lose.
That's got to be the best loss ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's you never want to lose, but
if you have to lose,
if you can,
that's how you do
gotta
it.
lose, and you can take away from it, taking it on short notice against the best guy in the world, and
hold your own.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, it gave me confidence. The next
You made Long Island proud.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for real.
It's when it comes down to it, that's like the most important thing for me. Really, is like I go in there and just you know, show where I'm from, and
it's one of the best parts of UFC for me as a fan is because you get to almost every fucking card. It's somebody that lives 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
And I could have gone to high school with. You know what I mean? My parents moved here from Brooklyn, from Queens, and we picked Belmore. Like, they didn't know the towns. They could just as easily gone to Toronto. We could have been in the same fucking class. Now this guy's in the Barclays fighting Khabib. Did they give you, was it a title shot?
Technically it wasn't. So I had to, when I weighed in, I was fighting Felder in a regular.
Oh, it was the half pound thing?
So it was like 0.2, you know?
So technically you didn't make it.
So technically I didn't make championship weight.
But you could have probably made that had you known. 0.2 pounds?
If I would have just taken my underwear off. Yeah, the underwear weighs 0.2. So
yeah.
That's actually what it was. So when they called me, they told me to bring my underwear down. They were going to weigh me without my underwear.
Like tear it like you do.
Yeah, exactly. So they were going to weigh me with my underwear on, then they weighed me without it. And actually, no, they put it on the scale and it weighed 0.2. That's what it was. And I was like, yeah, see, I made the weight. I weighed in with this underwear. Like, bring the exact underwear that you wore on.
That's so funny.
And I was talking to Ray, and I put it on the scale, and on one scale it was 0.2, and then on the other scale it didn't register. It didn't. It didn't.
Wet it first, and then it go down.
So that's what I was thinking. I was like, should I just like dampen it a little bit and say maybe I don't know. He was like, nah, just it'll be all right. I think you got. He pretty much said it. I think you got this fight. They're calling you to bring your underwear down. It sounds like they want it to be you, New Yorker in Brooklyn. It had, it just
they make you come down with your underwear. They better fucking give you the fight.
To
wear your underwear. That's fucking funny. What a fucking experience. That was amazing. I was there. I remember that very vividly. I remember parking a couple blocks away and walking up. Me and my buddy Gene went. And what a fucking day, man.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Wild stuff. It's just it's a story for
Yeah, some of your grandkids are gonna fucking talk about it. And then the counterpart too, like that whole experience, something that you're a part of. You're cemented in history with those.
Yeah,
100%.
It's crazy stuff. Crazy.
So where are you at now with training, with the UFC, with everything like that, with next fight?
So I had the surgery just back in August.
That's right.
I had a bunch of scar tissue that was kind of.
It's an easier surgery though, right? A lighter surgery than your previous one.
Yeah, but at this point, I don't really want to go. I didn't want to do it. I did everything I could not to, but I'd train hard for a couple of days and it'd swell up a lot. So it was really bugging me. So they went in there, they took some scar tissue out. And it didn't get much better. I just got a stem cell injection.
I was going to ask if you tried stem cell.
Yeah.
But did you do the American stem cell or did it overseas?
No, I did the American stem cell, which is there's
not as good. The ones that are in like Mexico or
yeah,
Panama,
Panama, yeah.
they use, I think, it's like placenta stem cells, which is the strongest ones.
And then they actually clone the stem cells, so
Yep.
there's higher
But it's
concentration.
illegal in
of
America,
stem cells. It's not FDA approved in America.
which is fucking ridiculous. The backstory of that is something even more ridiculous, that it's got to do with like Bible thumping politicians
Yeah,
who think it's like playing God to do that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And that's why it's nothing to do with safety or anything like that.
They're technically like cloning
Yeah.
stems. You know,
They're like, oh, you're playing God, and some fucking Republican from probably Oklahoma shut it down.
Yeah.
Whatever. But so how's your knee feeling now?
It's feeling good. It's feeling better.
Yeah, you're still in rehab?
I've been doing rehab forever.
You're permanently in rehab.
Just permanently. I have to do so.
You go to camp?
Yeah. Yep. Go to
Shout out Mike Camp.
Shout out my camp.
He's
But I
the
go
fucking
to
goat.
John Amato is
Dr.
there.
Amato is
he puts,
awesome.
He puts
Yep.
me through. He's been putting me through strength and conditioning workouts.
Love Amato. And I love how
Yeah.
into fighting he is too.
That guy is.
He was with
loves
John in
it.
that last fight.
Yep.
That was awesome.
Yep. He loves this, and he's great at what he does. Those guys are all great at what they do.
The best.
Yep. So so I've been going to him.
How many days a week got to do that?
I go 3 days a week, but
Wow.
I've always
though.
been doing, like, I got to do certain exercises for my legs that kind of keep my quad strong.
Stabilizing muscles and everything.
Yeah, do a lot of band stuff. But when COVID hit, I've mats in like a gym in my garage. We were training, me and a couple guys. Everyone was shut down. The gyms were shut down. The physical therapy places were shut down. I kept.
Were they really?
Yeah.
I didn't really cut those down also. Wow.
Right when it first started, they closed everything. Yeah,
Shit.
they were closed. So all the exercises that I was
Mike
doing.
has been losing his mind.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine him not working.
No, I mean that was, yeah.
So you were doing it at home. You were keeping it up on home.
But I didn't have like leg extension, leg curl. I was kind of I kind of.
Too bad we didn't know each other then, because I have the whole. I didn't even show you. I got a whole gym on the other side of this wall.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So I
You
kind
was
of
doing band work.
I was
kind of
well, I was still doing the bands, but I kind of slacked on the physical therapy stuff. I didn't, like, I had a good regimen of what I would do every week. Was the same thing. I'd go to I'd go to the Freeport Rec Center. I'd swim. I'd do all my leg stuff. They have every machine that I need. They
have like a workout gym there.
Yeah.
I've only been there to play ball, like play basketball.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. I like the place. It's
Have they redone it? Because I used to go like 10 years ago. It was a piece of shit. That's strong words. I take that back. But just the basketball court was like, you ever play on a basketball court that was like almost like it was like stone, and it's like all when it's dusty, like slide across it. Like it wasn't hardwood.
Yeah, no, they got hardwood now.
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely like they have everything that I need there. And also it's like a bunch of old people. It's not like
the crowd's older. Yeah.
So I'm really just I don't get stopped. I can get
No one
my
bothers you.
Yeah, no one really bothers you. It's not like. Although I like looking at hot chicks, there's no, that's not,
No distractions.
that can turn into the goal of, you can be like, get very easily distracted. So
Yep.
I just go there, I get in, I get out, and they have a pool to swim at. I haven't run in 5 or 6 years now. So
I think people, because of your knee,
yeah.
do you used to run a lot?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Running.
I guess for fighting, you kind of have to. How do you replace now with swimming?
Swimming. Yeah. I think it's a better alternative.
Well, I agree, because I think running, I hate running. And not only do I not enjoy it, but I think it's really rough on your body. People underestimate. There's a ton of impact.
Yeah.
And especially like I'm heavy for my size. Like I'm 5'8". Like I get to 220, 230 sometimes. And it's not easy. And my knees end up being sore. Swimming is actually harder cardiovascularly, because you're not only using your legs, but using your upper body, which is like, you ever get your heart rate taken from, throwing hands with throwing mitts. And then when you do kickboxing, it goes from like 130 to like 180. So your legs come in.
Using your whole body.
So cardiovascularly, it's much more demanding to swim, and it's zero impact.
Zero. Yeah.
Zero. You're not hitting anything. You're fucking floating more or less.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge proponent. Not that I do it, but if I was doing something based on performance, if I needed to train for something, that's what I would do. I think that's very smart of you.
Yeah.
I actually just got the same company that sponsors GSP. They just sent me a bunch of shit. If you want to try them, you could take some. Right now I'm not going any pool anytime soon. They gave me, it's called Hydro Revolution.
Oh yeah.
So they sponsored GSP, and they sponsored me also for Kill Johnny, but I haven't been able to shoot the episodes yet. Hopefully they'll line me up with GSP. That'd be fucking dope.
Hell yeah.
But they basically give you these dumbbells for underwater that are, instead of being weighted, they're fins.
Yeah.
Because underwater you don't need weight, it's just resistance. And
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
amazing part about, so they have like individual dumbbells. They look like dumbbells, but they have fins on them.
Yep.
And they have barbells, same thing. And then they have like these vests that go on in your legs that give you resistance. So the best part compared to regular weight training is you're not relying on gravity anymore. So you get resistance both directions. So let's say you have the dumbbells in your hand and you're doing like a bench press motion. When you're going forward, yeah, you're working your chest and your triceps, but on the way back, there's also resistance. Now you're doing your back.
Sick.
I mean, anything you do is like a double time. You put your hands up and it's going to be shoulders if you go into water, and then down like a lat pull.
Yeah.
You know, we could do bicep and tricep in the same move because it both ways is resistance.
Wow.
The stuff's actually amazing.
I've seen him. I've seen the GSP. I guess
He's big at the underwater workouts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll show you the things after, and fucking shout out Hydro Revolution because the thing's really fucking dope what they do. And like I said, zero impact. So for rehab, stuff like that. I tried it for the first time after I had an ACL surgery a long time ago. I went to a physical therapy place, unfortunately, before I knew camp, and the place sucked. But the one thing they made me do was go underwater with like these makeshift dumbbells.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, this is actually a fucking great workout.
Yeah. I think the pool is just a great tool. You can do. There's so much you can do. Even just like, I'll do sprints and I'll try to hold my breath. You know,
Underwater?
I'll keep my head down and I'll just swim, and I'll try to get, all the way across with one breath, or I try to just take one breath, at halfway through.
I'm so bad at swimming.
Stuff like that, and I think that just opens your lungs up to a whole.
Are you a good swimmer?
Pretty good swimmer.
Yeah.
I got pretty good. My father's he's been a lifeguard at the beach my whole life.
Okay.
So growing up,
So you grew up in the water.
Grew up in the water. Grew up at the beach.
It's a great, like, I'm like, some of my best friends are great swimmers. My boy Kevin, shout out Dunn. He was in a pool since a little kid.
Yeah.
And he's just like a fucking fish. And I feel like his build got better because of that. He's long and lanky, so like it helps him. He's he's fast as fuck.
When you have that.
But like I just feel like his muscles are like, they're different. He's built different from that, I feel like.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's definitely a certain type of build that you develop through swimming. And for the Diego fight, I felt like that fight I was probably the leanest I've ever been, and I was swimming. I swam the most for that fight because my knee. So I was swimming like 3 days a week, hard. One day I do sprints, one day I do kind of like a distance, 3 5-minute rounds, just back and forth, and then I do intervals.
Oh, so you would basically do like a mock fight almost.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
much. And I'd eat I would be so hungry afterwards because your body just burns and burns. So I'd be eating. I probably ate the most highest amount of calories leading up to a fight, but also had
Getting
the
leaner.
easiest time making weight. I made.
Isn't that
weight so
amazing how that
easy.
works?
Yeah.
People who aren't athletes or never been through a weight cut before, or a strict diet plan with tracking macros, they don't realize how that works. I think like I got to eat less to lose weight. And it's like, no, man. People that I know, they're in the best shape, eat the most.
Yeah.
Especially for a fight.
Yeah.
Do you track macros at all?
No, not too much. Nutrition wise, that's probably one thing that I could do a little bit more. I take like a multivitamin, and a protein shake, but pretty much as far as supplementation goes, I eat pretty clean. I don't really.
I got a good post-workout for you. My company, actually, I make a recovery product called Refresh that's got everything your body needs to recover from a workout in one drink.
Oh, wow.
So it's got BCAAs for muscle recovery and glutamine and stuff like that, but it's also got stuff to replenish your immune system, which crashes after a hard workout. People don't know that. Your immune system's crashed.
Yeah.
Suppresses cortisol, we talked about before, the stress hormone from a hard workout, which makes you hold water, hold fat, not put on muscle. It's got everything under one roof. It's like a one stop, and it tastes fucking man good. It's actually in that.
Oh, is that?
That's the reason why that tastes drinkable, because kratom tea is kind of bitter.
Yeah.
But with that added, it's like that was the peach flavor, mango, whatever it is. I got that for you also. But I work with a company also called Flex Pro. That does meals. Do you ever work with a meal company? Like a meal prep?
Eat Clean Bro.
Eat Clean Bro. Okay, they're good.
So I do. They sponsored me for a couple of years. Yeah. I like the food.
They're good.
And it's easy. You order it.
That's
it
the
just
thing, the
shows up.
convenience. And then
Yeah.
the day to day, I can't cook for shit. I don't know about you, but I don't cook for nothing. My girl cooks,
Yeah,
or I
yeah,
starve.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So that helps me go a long way. Just throw it in the fucking microwave for a minute and a half, and it's ready to go.
Yeah.
And the best part is it's pre-portioned.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you don't overeat.
Yeah.
Tracking the macro. That's why I like Flex Pros, because they actually put the macros on the container.
Oh wow.
So each meal has how much fat, how much carbs, how much protein. So when you start, tracking your macros, it just becomes super fucking easy.
Yeah.
There's no guesswork anymore.
Yeah. That's a win-win.
You didn't work with nutritionist for any of the fights?
No, not
Wow.
really. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big 155er, so I don't cut a crazy amount of weight. I cut a decent amount of weight.
Could you make 45?
I don't think I'd want to. I think I would. I enjoy. I think. I mean, I do cut a good. I walk around between 175 and 180.
Not as bad as some people's cuts.
Yeah, and then I'll get down to like 173 when I'm like good shape, really good shape. For the last 5 weeks of camp, I'll be floating around 170 to 175, and then from there, the week of the fight, I'll cut the rest out.
How much is water the last day? Like one day out, what do you weigh?
I mean, maybe like 10 pounds. The last 10 pounds.
So you're down to
is all water.
165 just from cutting the carb. Or how do you get from start cutting the carbs a week out?
Yep.
And then a day out, you hit the sauna?
Yeah. I cut the sodium, cut that out like a week before. Do the water load. I'll be drinking like 3 gallons, 2 gallons, a gallon.
Are you allowed to take diuretics or no?
I'm gonna I don't know.
All right, we're gonna go there then.
Yeah.
But interesting. I'm always passing by the weight cut.
I don't think you can.
No?
I don't think you can. Nothing that's like prescribed diuretic or anything.
Yeah, they make over the counter ones too. So I wonder how that goes. And although it's also tricky because I make the comparisons a lot when talking about fighting the bodybuilding, because there are so many comparisons. But the good thing about bodybuilding is you can be dehydrated when it's time to go, because you don't have to actually perform.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're posing. It's harder than people give it credit for, but it's not fighting.
Yeah.
So I can still be sucked out. People
Yeah.
forget, like, yeah, you cut 20 pounds, that's all good and all, but now you gotta go perform at the highest level with someone trying to beat your ass in front of you. You better make sure you're still good. So sometimes I think people, they overcut weight to the point where you see these weird things where people go up a weight class and do better.
Yeah.
What you would think is totally not possible, doesn't make any sense at all, but it's because their weight cut was so bad, their performance was suffering.
Yeah. That's why when you asked me about going to 45, I think I'm way better at 155. It's I'm still focused on fighting. When I wrestled, I tried to cut a lot of weight at Nassau Community College, and it was like weight cutting season, and then I wrestled also. I was just so focused on cutting the weight that
You can't focus on the fight.
yeah,
Or the
it was
match.
like I don't think I improved too much as a wrestler, because the last 3 days before the match, I was just worried. Rather than worrying about getting better, I was just doing
Takes your mind
workouts
off the prize.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's the same thing with this. Like, even with Mike Chiesa, he went up in weight at 170. Now he's killing it. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's working his way towards a title shot. And
Where's he ranked now?
he's got to be like, I'm gonna say he's close to the top, cracking that top 10.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's up there. I mean, he had some pretty good wins. Yeah. What do we got? Yeah, he put it on Rafael dos Anjos pretty good, and
He beat Dos Anjos?
yeah.
Wow.
Controlled him 3 rounds, shut him out pretty much.
Dos Anjos had a long fall from grace the last few years, huh?
Yeah, it seems that way.
Is he just getting old, you think? I can't tell. He's Brazilian. They could be 25 or 45 sometimes.
There's it's you really don't know. I mean, it could be that. It could be a million things. It was just maybe
Sport past him.
Yeah, if you do it for a while, maybe he's losing
The drive.
Yeah.
You go to Share Dog has all the answers, Joe.
17.
Does it say his
Rank 8.
rank 8? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's working his way up.
Yeah.
Shit.
Neil Magny coming up.
When's that fight?
That fight is it's with,
Couple weeks?
Yeah, it might be. Oh
Fight
no,
hasn't
you know
been a
what,
UFC in
it's
a
the
minute,
fight
has it?
after it got pushed up to the main event. It's the week after Conor.
Oh, that's right.
It's the card.
Why are
after
they
Conor.
doing that?
What's that?
Conor Poirier. I like Poirier too, but he got dominated the first time. Like,
Yeah.
what's the thought process there? Like, why would they give Conor that fight?
I
Like,
think they want Conor to win, and they want
but
to try to
that
get
was,
him.
wasn't that the Cowboy fight for him? Wasn't that kind of like his bone he got thrown?
Yeah, yeah. The Cowboy wasn't really. I don't think that puts him as. It's not a. It's a good win, but I don't think it's a.
Think he has to prove himself, Conor? Has done everything. He's had to beat Khabib.
Yeah. I mean, right now there's Charles Oliveira. He just beat Ferguson, dominated him.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. So what's and same thing with Ferguson too? Now it's 2 bad losses in a row.
Yeah.
It's
And
gonna
then
be
Michael Chandler's coming in. He's fighting Hooker. So
Dan Hooker,
there's
tough motherfucker too.
yeah. There's three. There's three.
It's a
Those
fucking
are
stacked division.
3 fights that could become #1 contender. Fights, but
155, 170. I think are the 2 most stacked divisions right now.
yeah.
I think for sure. 170 is getting super interesting now. Usman, Covington put on a great performance. They
Yeah.
need a rematch.
Yeah.
That's the only fight I really want to see now.
I want to see
and Burns.
Matt Burns. He's gonna get the title shot.
Gilbert
next.
Burns looked incredible in his
Yeah.
last fight. He
Yeah.
came. I feel like I came out of nowhere.
He's been around forever.
But like the last year, he's
Yeah.
just like a different
Yeah,
person.
kind of like the same as Masvidal. He's always been around. I don't think he hasn't become as big of a star, but in the same kind of way, where
But he
it's
dominated
not
Woodley.
like
It was
he's
like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it's not like he's in the beginning of his career and he's
No.
on the rise like some of these other guys. He's
Just like found his stride, it seems like.
yeah, yep,
Really impressive. That
Yeah.
Woodley fight was unbelievable.
yep.
I really like Covington as a fighter. And I think it's funny too, because I think everyone gets the wrong impression about him. He plays that character. That's not who he is at all. He's a super humble guy, hardworking dude. Like he picked a character to get some people riled up, and it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, but sometimes you got to sell it. It is an entertainment business.
And he kind of took a page out of Chael Sonnen's book, but
Yeah, it's like Chael Sonnen meets McGregor, like in his persona. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah,
like the bad guy, but he's being corny on purpose. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's the thing. That's the thing that he kind of brings that I don't think anyone's ever. He's kind of a little corny about it, and
But on purpose, it seems like,
Yeah.
like with the cheap suits and shit.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
he's
and the
got-
girls.
He's got like these.
What's
girls
up,
coming
virgins and nerds?
Hey, he's a guy that was winning, was doing good, but no one really paid attention to for whatever reason, and he comes out of nowhere with that. Kind of the same with Chael. I think Chael was always a good fighter, always a great fighter, and then he added in that little shtick of talking shit to the
Before Conor,
Brazilians and
Chael
stuff.
had all the pay-per-view records and gate records for
Yeah.
the UFC.
Yeah.
People don't know that. He had the biggest fights ever. And the
Yeah.
same thing because he played that bad guy role. Chael Sonnen seems like a fucking amazing dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a dick in real life.
No.
It's just you gotta do what you gotta do
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Definitely.
So it's interesting to me that I like a lot of times going back to the beginning of UFC, it's similar to the days of you hear about an MLB in like, the early 1900s where the guys would go and they'd play a game and then they got a job on the side. And it's not a lot of these guys, it's not their full-time gig. And if it is, even if it is, they have some kind of side hustles and things like that to make money going, keep
Got
it
it.
floating between, because you have long breaks, injuries, stuff like that. I know you went through that.
Yeah.
So you also do real estate.
Yeah.
So you're an
Yeah.
agent here in Long Island, right?
Agent on Long Island. Yeah.
How and when did you get into that?
That injury. I had that injury.
Which time?
The
15?
Yeah. So it was the doctors were saying I had just bought a house maybe a year or two before that, and a friend of
Still in
mine.
Oh no, over here.
Seaford. It was in Seaford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the time. I bought my only criteria was that I wanted a 2-car garage. I wanted to turn it into a gym, put mats. I would do personal training out of there. So my friend's mother, she was an agent. She helped me, and it was the first house that I looked at.
Same with this.
Sick, right?
Just impatient, I feel like.
Yeah.
I like the house, but I was probably just like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah. This was like that's a criteria that's pretty. If you want if your biggest criteria is that you want like a sick garage.
Yeah,
to
you can
turn
find
into a
anywhere in Long
gym,
Island.
It's like the first. It's like you look up. You can you look up online.
Yeah.
You find this house has a sick garage. You take it. I'll take the house. The house just kind of came along with the garage. So yeah, I basically bought the garage. That's what I joke around.
That's funny.
I bought a garage and the house came with it. So it's detached from the house. It had a bathroom in it
Oh, that's nice.
with a shower, and
That way you don't have to bring people in your house if you don't want to either.
it had
You have
heat.
people training.
Yeah,
stuff.
it had heat. It was perfect. So first house, put an offer, got the house, and I was like, shit, I enjoyed looking up houses. I was on Zillow. I was looking throughout the whole process. I like looking at different towns. What you
Now you
can
got your
get.
MLS login.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Is it
uh,
still Stratus? You still use that same
yep,
program? I haven't been
yep,
on it in a while.
yep. Still Stratus. But in my head, I was like, that was easy. She made money
And you
doing
see your
that.
commission, and you're like,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah. And then you watch it on TV. You're like,
$1 million
oh,
listing
yeah.
and
It's
shit.
like, oh, they show them 3 houses. You kind of like just pick from it.
And this is an offense to you because I have my license also, but I think that real estate agents are one of the easier jobs, right? I mean, as far as like you have to do your research with people, but you're more or less a tour guide.
Yeah.
You
The
know?
hardest part about it is knowing, you got to know a lot of people. You got to
Yeah, it's the
you got to
networking.
get the leads, and
It's a
also,
networking job.
yeah, it's a networking. That's the hard part is like if you move somewhere and you don't know anybody,
Yeah, good luck.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're not,
what are you gonna do? Fucking put flyers at King Cullen?
yeah,
It's really tough that to get the leads is right. But once you have a listing and or you have a buyer,
yeah,
I mean, here's the bathroom,
yep,
here's the bedroom.
yeah. I don't even really like. I'm not like putting on a show. A lot of the agents they like put on a performance of showing the house.
They want to feel like they justify their fee or something like that. But it's
Yeah,
like just be real with the
I
person.
make the appointments. I'll I'll look online to find the house, and I know I get to really I work with people that I know, friends of mine, teammates, people from my hometown that are buying their first houses and stuff like that, and I enjoy. I like it. We're hanging out. We go hang out. We look. You want to go hang out, and look at houses.
Yeah, just go a couple open houses on
It's sick.
Saturday.
Yeah, we
Whatever.
go and we go have a couple beers after. It's a fun process, and at the end they get a good house. They get a house that they like. So yeah, I didn't know what I was getting into when I walked into the class. I had the surgery. I crutched into the class. I got my
And it's
license.
75 hours now, right?
75. Yeah, it was
Bro,
a
when I
long,
started, it was
long
40
thing.
hours. I got my
Okay.
license like over 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and I didn't take the test right away. I don't know who I was jerking around. I was young, and
Yeah.
they changed the rule to 75. While I was already done with the course, I had taken the test. It made me go back and do the
Do it
full one,
again. Oh man.
and then you have to go every year for the renewal,
Yeah,
like, continued
you
education,
have to do a certain amount of classes and stuff like
like
that.
online, like certain amount of 5 hours or something. Whatever it is. I remember just being
It's
such a bitch.
brutal. Yeah.
My license is now lapsed and gone because of that.
You
I
never
just
renewed.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um.
But
But yeah.
that was bringing you income in between fights,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially with no sponsor, no personal sponsors anymore.
Yeah. At first, I mean, I went the first like 6 8 months without I was busting my ass working, but I didn't really know what I was doing. It was a big learning curve. A guy that I was gym guy. I grew
Yeah.
up in the gym. I never really had a job. I never worked in sales. What really saved me was that I have a good network of people. I've been to a bunch of gyms, and I think that I have a pretty good people respect what I do when I fight. They see you can like when you watch somebody fight, you can kind of tell what they're all about. You can't hide it. Ray Longo always talks about it. He goes, you watch somebody fight, and there's no hiding who you are. That's who you are. If you're gonna take a cheap shot, if you're losing and you take a cheap shot, it's like that's kind of like who you are in life. If you're a guy that just if you're losing, you just keep working, keep working. That's kind of how it
I like that.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. When Ray said that, I was
agree
like,
with that.
wow, and you definitely see it. You definitely see that.
It's the
in,
rawest form of the person.
yeah, that's it. You're in there by yourself. There's no hiding who you are, and you can't blame anybody else.
You probably also get some people that just want to, who maybe fight fans that want to use you for the real estate for that.
I've sold houses
It's an extra
for
perk.
people. Yeah, yeah. So I got into the sales side, but I also have a good friend, Nicky Knuckles, Nick Lamagna, who's a huge investor, invests across the nation, and he kind of got me in on. He teaches those those courses where they'll teach you how to flip houses and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. So he invited me to go. I told him I was getting my license, and he teaches. He's an incredible instructor. He taught the class. I sat in on it. How to
Do like fix and flips and stuff.
yeah, doing fix
REO
and flips,
properties and whatnot.
and that's not really my thing, but I think it gave me a great insight into what investors are looking for. Pretty good at finding houses for investors and stuff like that.
You working with the banks? Like any short sales or
No,
foreclosures?
not really. No, it's something I would definitely want to do. But I've been busy doing a bunch of different things. But the definitely on my list is to get into.
Does that
get
guy
into
Nicky?
this.
Does he do that?
He's not he got his license after the fact. He was just working. He was just working on the investing side.
That's what I mean. For
Yeah,
me, but
yeah.
does he invest in? Does he buy
Oh
foreclosures?
yeah. He'll buy really anything if it's
Yeah,
a good deal. He's getting into like apartment complexes and stuff like that.
that's nice. That's the next
He
level.
does it. Yeah, he does it nationwide. He does some really big business.
Right now, prices in Long Island are up. It's crazy.
Dude,
When the virus hit, I thought, oh, this is gonna be it. This is when the bubble's gonna pop. But no, it's the opposite. Actually, it's kind of weird that I guess because everybody wants to get out of the city.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be out of the Manhattan and Brooklyn and Queens. They want to be on top of each other. They're so scared and why they want their distance that people coming to Long Island. They're overpaying, buying over listing price. It's crazy.
The interest rates are super low.
Yeah, that helps too. Yeah,
So it's like
historically low fucking money to
it's
borrow.
like free money.
I heard people getting mortgage rates at like 2.75 and stuff.
Even
Like,
lower than that,
what the
2.5. Yeah.
bro, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like free money.
Yeah.
It really is. It's crazy. And then with the inflation going on, like the amount of money you're getting in equity. I mean, the houses are going up. They're probably up 100,000 from last year
Yeah.
for an average house.
Yep. It's crazy. Everyone's refinancing. The banks are. Everyone's making money in the real estate industry. It's pretty cool. But
So you've been doing that 5 years now.
been doing it like 5 years.
What do you office we work at? What company?
Home Smart.
Okay.
Home Smart. It's Phoenix, Arizona based. They kind of just started popping up here on the East Coast. I was actually the first agent at the office. He opened the office, and I was through mutual friends. I ended up meeting Rich Rasmatini, who's the broker that now has 100 agents under him. So started from like
Wow.
the
Here?
ground level. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So he's in Williston Park on Willis Avenue. He's opened an office in Melville and an office in East Meadow.
100 agents.
And now
Wow.
he's got probably more now. I remember when he hit 100, but he's probably got more now. But yeah, I enjoy. I think it's such a good. What's the old saying is that, or not saying, it's like a fact that the most self-made millionaires have come from
It's true.
selling
Everybody
real
that I know
estate.
that has big money, like that next level, is either a real estate guy. Even if they're not a real estate guy by trade, they have a ton of real estate.
Yeah.
It's the only real tangible asset we really have. Like
Yep.
everything else, US dollars, everything it's subjective. It goes up and down. My pops always says they're not making any more land.
That's it.
So
Yep.
it's something you just gotta
Especially on Long Island, it's it's and
location.
yeah, people are moving out. I mean, you got the city is right there. You got the beaches. You're no more than
For growing up, for raising a family, I think this is the best place to be in New York. I wouldn't, to raise kids, this is the
Yeah.
best place to be.
yeah, yep. Schools are all good, for the most part. It's just crime's not crazy. There's a few pockets where it might be a little, but it's definitely Long Island's great place to live, great place to own a little bit of real estate.
Oh yeah.
So I'm starting to. My thing is just now. The sales, being an agent's cool, but it's a lot of work at the end of the day. You're making a lot of phone calls. You're setting up a lot of
A
appointments.
lot of footwork too. Showing people 10, 12 houses, sometimes 15 houses, 20
Yeah.
houses before they buy one.
Yeah. So the investing side is something that I've really really started to learn and take most of my time is dedicated towards. I that first property in Seaford, ended up renting that out.
Oh, you kept it.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yep. Renting it out. It's good property. Moved to Merrick, and then I just bought another one in Seaford. And making decent money, but
Keeping them for the long haul.
Yeah.
That's the move, man.
Yep.
If you can rent them out, have it pay itself down,
That's it.
that's the move,
Make
100%.
a little money over the top, and then pay that mortgage down and
You're building equity.
build some equity. Try to take refinance, take it out, maybe do another one, and just keep it going.
Nice. That's the move, man. We should talk about that too, because something we could do together
100%.
there.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely. I'm always looking for some deals. Always looking for people to go in with it. Yeah, it's like that they're making money while you're just chilling.
Yeah, and you're smart because like you can't fight forever.
Yeah,
So you gotta be out of something. And most people I feel like who fight, they wait till it's over to start thinking about what they're gonna do next. You got a head start.
I definitely hated the situation that I was in, and I had to kind of resort to, finding something else at the time. Luckily, I was
Blessing.
able to fight again, and it's I'm not.
But think about it. Had that not happened, you may never have done real estate.
Yeah,
And then you might be somebody who at the end of the career was then figuring it out.
even if I would have fought and became champion the next fight or two, a couple fights later, that money goes quick. Especially you don't know, definitely. Even if you make a good chunk of change, but then you don't really have anything to do after that, goes quick. But invest.
And the UFC doesn't give you a pension.
Yeah, that's it, man. There's no pension in the UFC, and who knows? You have $1 million, $10 million in cash. You get used to spending it a certain way, the car, this, that, and then that money just goes quick. And
believe me, I fucking know.
Throw it into real estate first. You can kind of live with
money
that.
Seems to go on fire when it's in my hands. Does the UFC pay for when you get injured? Do they pay for that?
Well, that was a big thing. That was a big problem I had when I had that first surgery. It was the doctor from the UFC that he was the one that was saying that if you have this surgery, you're probably not going to fight again.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So
why do you think was he steering you for some kind of incentive to the UFC, you think, or he just didn't know better, or it was just his honest opinion?
I have a couple theories. So the surgery that I wanted to have, I did a bunch of research, and the best doctor is Hospital for Special Surgery in Manhattan. Dr. Riley Williams. He's top 2 when it comes to osteochondral allograft, is what it shortened to OATS procedure. He's the best. He's the best of the best. And he's the one that said, if you do this, you'll probably be good. It's a good shot. You're going to fight again and whatever.
Did the other guy doesn't do that procedure, or he didn't want you to do that procedure?
So that the UFC's doctor, he's not so much an orthopedic surgeon. He's kind of just, maybe he is, but he doesn't do the surgery. He's more like an overseer of the whole medical process for the UFC. And he was the one that was like, yeah, if you get this surgery, probably not going to fight again. So HSS is it's the most expensive as far as surgeries go. They're like, if you have this surgery at a different hospital, it'd be like 30 grand, but at HSS it's 90. So they were like, we'll pay 30. You got to cover the rest.
For an injury you got while you were fighting for the UFC in their show.
They're like, yeah, we'll pay for you to have it at a different hospital or whatever it was. They're like, you got to pick up if you want to do it at HSS. I was like, hold on. I'm doing the research here. I found out that this is the guy that I want to go to. This is the hospital I want to go to. I put the UFC in touch with them.
Insurance isn't covered at all?
At that point, I don't think the UFC had the insurance.
Did you have personal health insurance?
I don't think I did.
You're fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go fight in the cage.
I'm trying to think. Maybe I did.
I probably didn't cover that anyway.
I don't think it would have covered that. And yeah,
they probably would have said the same thing. Go to the $30,000 place.
Yeah.
I got very lucky in my procedures. I had trauma injuries from motorcycle accidents, and just so happened that the doctors at the hospital that I went to, not by choice in the ambulance, their surgeon was like one of the best for what I did. But then when I had to get it redone, camp actually gave me the Yankees orthopedic surgeon. Like he can go in his office and he's on the float with the 96 Mariano Rivera and Jeter, and he did my last clean out on my elbow, like same thing, like getting rid of bone chips floating around, scar tissue. They had to take the screws out, put new ones in. And the other doctors I went to talk to, they were like, yeah, if you get this surgery, you're never gonna lift weights again. I'm like, well, then I'll just fucking suffer. But he was like, nah, you'll be good. Yeah. It's like there's levels to everything in life, even in doctors.
Yep.
And when you're dealing with something that's going to dictate your entire life and you're a professional athlete, you got to go with the fucking best one. Yeah, there's no question about it.
Yep. So I put the UFC in touch with them, and he spoke to the doctor, and Dr. Williams spoke to the UFC's Dr. Davidson, and it was just like a battle to get them to pay for it. They ended up finally paying for it.
They did.
I had the surgery. And now the UFC.
Now, were you holding off the surgery while this back and forth's going on? Wow.
I wasted.
That cost
like 6-9 months probably.
For him to fucking do it at the end of the day.
And I was freaking cursing out Dana White on Twitter. I was fucking going nuts. It was like.
Did he call you at all?
No, never got a call from him. I actually tweeted publicly. I DM'd him, man, I need to talk to you. You gotta, no call. I tweeted publicly, no call. So I ended up going out to Vegas and spoke with Lorenzo Fertitta at the time.
Wow.
He was the guy, and
He's owns the whole shit.
yeah. I ended up speaking to him. I said, "Listen, dude."
He gave you the meeting. He took it.
Yeah, he was the guy.
That's pretty dope.
He was the guy that really cleared the whole thing up. I don't think he was aware of the whole situation until I really spoke to him. I think he saw like
Actually, it wasn't like you were riding a fucking bull on the weekend. Like you were fighting on their show.
Yeah,
when injury happened.
Crazy. So now the UFC is partners with HSS after all that.
And because of you.
I think it definitely has a lot to do with it. I know. Yeah. So I still been going there and working with the doctor and got the scar tissue. He took the scar tissue out. He did the stem cell injection. So it was
how'd you like the stem cells?
I had it on Tuesday.
This week?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was when we were first supposed to meet up?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And that was like a whole thing. Then UFC had to clear it. And it came down to the wire. They had to overnight the stem cell product to the UFC. It was like it was a pretty stressful day or two, but finally got the stuff, got the injection. My knee was sore, really, really sore the next day. They told me the guy that sells and produces the product, the stem cells, he said that I can get right back to being active right after, not to really rest it.
Like immediately?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not to go too crazy, but kind of get back in there.
How long until you're supposed to feel the effects or whatnot?
The anti-inflammatory effect is
immediate,
pretty immediate, and I definitely felt it. Definitely feel it pretty good. I've been doing stuff that would normally make my knee swell up, and it hasn't. I mean, it's still swelling up, but not to the point where
already
it's like
it helps.
killing. Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely the anti-inflammatory. But the long-term effect of the stem cells kind of repairing the injury and healing up the scar tissue. He said can take up to 6 months, but they can inject it like once a month, once every 2 weeks.
Shit.
So yeah, I'll probably do a couple more treatments, and just hope that it just kind of clears up whatever scarring is in there.
I want to get the stem cells so badly. I heard not only for like spot treatment and an injury, but Bas Rutten.
Yeah.
So Bas got it done, and he was saying, so there's like, I don't know, they do it by like however many cells, whatever it is. So like, if you get, I'm making the numbers up, but maybe how many stem cells you got in your. So, but maybe if it's a local something where it's like, okay, you have a knee injury, we shoot it right into the knee. We're gonna give you like 100,000 stem cells, whatever. But there's a way to do it where they put it like into your bloodstream for your whole body, and it hits IV. And they do it with like 1 million, like whatever it is, like it's a crazy multiple of whatever the spot one would be, and it's supposed to make your whole body heal and function better and shit like that. And Bas Rutten was saying when he got it done, he's like, I felt like I was electric for like the first week. He was like, like this, and he was super. I'm like, damn, sign me up. But for that, I think the one he got was the placenta one. He had to go to, I think, Panama. Yeah. Panama or Peru or something. And a friend of mine, my boy Evan, one of his like really close friends, owns a stem cell place in one of those countries, and said he'll take care of us whenever we want to go. But even with the hookup, it's like 15, 20 grand or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, I got to hold off a little bit longer. I don't have a good excuse to go get stem cells right now.
And apparently if you do the IV, there's a chance of you testing positive for growth hormone.
Really?
A couple of guys have gone down there and gotten that treatment done, and they've popped.
I would test positive for growth hormone anyway, but
yeah, that could have been it, but they said the levels weren't high enough for it to have like a performance enhancing
like effect.
So that USADA is kind of working to clear that up, but they wouldn't. I had inquired about going there. Joe Rogan always
raves about it. Shoulder fixed and shit.
Dr. Royden's been on his podcast talking about it. Mel Gibson's grandfather has gone down.
Bro, you saw that one with Mel Gibson was on? Mel Gibson's dad, said he like could barely walk. The doctor thinking he was gonna die soon to like doing a bachata after fucking. It's crazy. I really, really want to do that.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah, I think it's
my buddy who I was talking about, he has a bad neck injury. He wants to do it for. So I'm like, damn, we all us cripples need to go down there, have a little party vacation
Right?
weekend,
Yeah,
and at the
yeah.
end, or maybe at the beginning, do the stem cell injection.
Yep.
But then partying sober for 3 days, just fucking flying.
Yeah. He'll right up. But yeah, I think that's like that's gonna be like the next thing. Once they get that
Legal in this country
FDA
and
approved
dialed in.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's just a matter of time. But
And getting it less expensive. So it's like accessible to people, normal people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because right now, who the fuck can afford that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 20, 30 grand.
Crazy.
Crazy. Then you gotta fly down.
Yeah.
You gotta put yourself up and stuff like that. But yeah, it's out there. It's like the fountain of youth.
So is
Supposedly.
HGH. HGH is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
HGH is also the fountain of youth. It's something that it can be abused like anything else.
Yeah.
You know, you have monster juice heads who take a shit ton of it and their fucking head gets this big.
Yeah.
But in small, like every Hollywood actor, and I'm sure a lot of pro athletes too, are taking this shit.
Yeah.
You take it for like a maintenance dose.
Yep.
You do like, 0.2 every day. And it's it just makes your hair, your nails, and your skin grow back faster. It makes you heal from your workouts better and recover better. Has fat burning properties where like it helps burn fat. I mean, I think it's just an amazing fucking compound.
Yeah.
And they need the same thing. They need to dial that in, get it safer. There's starting to be clinics now in the US that actually prescribe it for
It's through a doctor.
Yeah, exactly, legally. So it's not a big deal. It's just annoying more than anything. You have to poke yourself every day. It's not a big. Everyone thinks it's like when they hear needles, they think it's gonna be like a movie heroin needle. It's a fucking. It's an insulin pen.
Okay.
If you ever seen someone take insulin, the pin is this big. You put it in your stomach and the fat of your stomach, and it's nothing.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a miracle fucking worker. Hope one day they make it legal for athletes to use because it could be extremely beneficial.
Yeah.
But so you're recovering now. What's ahead now? Do you have a fight or a timeline or anything in mind?
No, I mean
Are you still waiting to be cleared, or was it?
it's honestly I'm cleared. I can fight. It's just when I can really. It's training. If I train hard for a week or two, it swells up. So I'm hoping these stem cells kick in. It could be a couple months. I think.
So you're playing it by ear right now, seeing how the knee reacts.
Yeah, I've been in so much pain that I'm not even really like thinking about fighting right now. I'm just thinking about I just want to feel good.
Yeah.
I took up surfing a little bit and
Really?
yeah.
Where, Long Beach?
Yeah, go down to Long Beach, Lido, maybe like 5-6 years ago. And
Did you get good at it?
I'm getting there. But the
I
knee
just want to go to ride
injuries-
one wave. That's all. I want to ride one. I could just knock it off my bucket list.
Yeah. No, you definitely
fun?
gotta. Yeah.
It
It's
seems
a
like one of those things that
sick,
once you get like decent at it, like it's probably fucking so amazing.
crazy workout.
Is it really?
Yeah. Paddling. You're
I
paddling.
never thought of that.
There's all shoulders, your back, you're arching your back up, you're paddling hard. And then
I never would have thought of that.
when there's big waves, there's a big wave coming, you're freaking paddling. You want to get out past that wave before it breaks on you.
I never took that into consideration,
Yeah.
the workout part of it.
Yeah. And you gotta paddle your ass off to get into the wave. And then once you catch the wave, you're riding its lower body, definitely all balanced.
I guess you're in like a squat position.
Yeah, in a squat, and then
Get a nice tan while you're out there.
Get a nice tan. Salt water is good for everything.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like
100%.
fountain of youth.
Yeah, you feel your skin. You're so like your skin's nice and tight and smooth.
Yeah.
Any pimples are fucking
clears
gone.
up everything.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then if you wipe out, you get held under. You gotta hold your breath. You gotta have
I'm just so bad at
strong-
swimming. I'm afraid I would drown out there.
Yeah, that might be a problem. That might be a problem.
I want to get one of those. You see the guy, who's the guy in Laird Hamilton?
Yeah.
So he invented like this fucking, or I don't know if it was him or one of his friends. He invented this like suit where like if you go under, like it pulls out and forms like a huge bubble and
Brings
it
you
brings
up
you to the fucking
surface.
top. So you don't die trying to fucking go on a maverick out there.
Yeah.
But damn, that's fucking. I'd like to try that too. Well, now you can't. You're not doing it now, right?
What's that?
Like surfing. It's too cold here now, no? Or you still go?
Oh, you get the wetsuit. You can go in.
Really?
Yeah.
Straight
now
polar bear
this
club.
is when. Well, if you have a wetsuit that's big enough, thick enough, you stay warm. It doesn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's a whole world I never knew about. What about you? Like your hands and
Yeah.
feet, aren't they fucking
Gloves,
freezing?
boots. You wear a little hoodie thing that it's like
Like
almost
Scuba Steve?
almost like a ski cap. Yeah. It's
Wow.
Yeah, and the best waves are in the winter. That's when the
Really?
storms really kick up. Hurricane season.
Interesting.
September, October, you get some good swells, and then even like January, February, you get some. That's when it's really,
Wow.
really good. In the summer, it's kind of dead. There's not too much.
Well, I never would have thought that.
Yeah,
Learn something new
Yeah.
every day.
yeah,
Shit, man.
yeah.
Well, that's a good place to leave it at, man. This was a dope fucking
Yeah,
conversation.
awesome, man.
We got some
Awesome.
dope perspective again on another mental warrior, somebody physical and mental warrior. But like I try to say and try to point out with every one of these interviews, is just that it all starts up here. Like that's the fresh perspective. Like it's all about up here. The mental comes first. And I say about anyone who's successful on something that's as mentally challenging as fighting is can be successful in anything. So I'm sure you'll be successful at real estate and anything else you put your head into because the mental is there. And if you can focus and put that kind of grit into anything, you're gonna be successful at it. So it was fucking dope talking to you.
No,
And
I appreciate it, brother.
good luck on the
stuff.
recovery.
Thank
and
you.
hopefully we'll see you back in the UFC soon.
Absolutely.
Yo, awesome, man.
Cheers, brother.
Fresh perspective, guys. We'll be back next week. Have a good night.